hearts and their minds as they carry out the business of the county. And we give you all the praise as they carry out the business of the county. And we give you all the praise and the glory in Jesus' most beautiful name. Amen.
We got enough all over here. Any necessary from the board? Yes.
I'd like to remove everything from the consent agenda at the end of the meeting, please, after the vouchers, please.
Yeah.
And I have one more.
Yes, ma'am.
Under old business, could we inquire about the letter to Mello? In January, we asked the attorney to.
Oh, yes, yeah. I have nothing on there, Becky does too.
Okay, so can we just put that under old business?
Yeah.
So, to add with the stuff on the consent agenda, I have the trainer's report.
Other changes or additions to the agenda? Motion to approve amended.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? I have one thing on discussion. In the future, I'd like to see these vouchers moved back to the beginning of the meeting, just because we end up, people leave and nobody's around when we're doing this. So,
I'd like that in form of a motion.
if you want to do a second one, we could. So, okay, all those in favor of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Chairman, I move that we move the vouchers to the beginning of the meeting on March 4th, beginning March 4th, 2025.
Second.
Been properly seconded, move the voucher
Is the budget and how the people's money is spent.
and whole under.
Just on consent agenda and then just do 15 minutes. And then with
Correct.
all of that stuff,
Correct.
we just make a motion for each thing.
Correct.
Okay.
So that this, Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
apologize.
ma'am.
So that
Okay.
All those in favor of adding a 15-minute consent agenda to the beginning of the meeting following, or you want to do it prior or following the voucher system, please say aye.
Did you guys already give public comment?
No.
It's not 9:15 yet.
Susie,
Yes.
you guys mind visiting about something real quick with Susie on the tax return, or where they filed for
Oh,
the,
you're on.
what is she on?
She's on the consent agenda.
For something else.
Yeah, I'm on for just Guest Smith, this thing here. What are you talking about?
That's on. That's on.
There was a income tax, 10-year the state statute. There was a income tax, 10-year the state statute, 10-year one.
Yep, after 10 years, we have to forgive it, because it's the winner, which one, yeah, Guest Smith, it's.
Right here. Chris?
Anybody needs to get blood today, there's a stucco blood drive going on at the high school. They need a few more donors.
Kim, how long does that go?
So few. 10 to 2.
At the high school?
High school library.
Ivy's gonna try to get at the beginning, not where they're doing it, but registration area.
Oh, no. You know that shop, you can't force
Did you get anything done with the gravel and road laying?
Not that I know.
Still just sitting there, you think?
It's just,
Actually, I guess.
it's,
Well, I don't know if that's the issue to them. You can't hear me.
Of course, they can't do it now.
yeah, it's
it.
primarily, it's just a sitting agenda.
It's something else.
That's the best way I can describe that.
It's it
I know,
That's-
it's okay.
paints the picture.
Did you go coffee in?
Sticker in
When
there.
you, I didn't think so, you know.
There's so many things in regards to that. Work done in some of those roads that are really bad shape. So now we're gonna redo it again. So,
Well, I mean, great, it's kind of filling it out.
and the issue is,
Is that working? Okay, we're good.
Rich?
That's the important thing. We can hear each other.
Question was answered. That's pretty good. That's good too.
Sometimes I'm sure we wish we could just go click and not hear each other, but yes, we do.
hey, so do you, any other art class?
Trying to get it organized and I just can't seem to do it right now. I'm thinking I need to do another drawing class instead of painting for ease. So I may just get something like that going together.
Because she said,
The logistics of an acrylic painting class in that room, I'm really struggling with on the cleanup and the mess that it can make. So I'm thinking maybe we can just do, like, they loved colored pencils. Maybe we can go back to that right now. And I'm kind of leaning that way. I just can't get it together now. No time.
get it together, no time left for review. I'm in that mode.
Oh. Well, in that case, I really wanted to, but I heard this guy named Edward keep going, and I just can't stand him.
You know what? I can't stand the guy either.
I'm sorry about the issues you had last time. That was
Whenever. So I. Has she been here? Been here. Yeah.
To finish up a good and most encouraged and respectfully requesting of the chairman the holiday
Improvement Service District. Feedback from the Department of Revenue that I was correct. Assigned by Osage Water District and the Osage Improvement Service District for
Is that
Commissioner Todd.
Jeff? Is that Jeff?
No, this was the guy out of,
WWC?
yep.
Okay.
District and the Osage Water District.
There are two separate grants that we're looking at, and we have solicited their service to help us go forward on this. In regards to the special district, I think that's there
This
is
letter
an
is
issue.
for both. And so he was wanting when they both were formed and all of that, and so that's where this hiccup comes into play. But this letter is for both by Chairman.
We can have it just for the special district and cancel the water for now until we get that resolved.
Yes.
That's what I would recommend at this point in time.
So I sent all of this to that gentleman who was
Yeah.
asking about this and told him to have you guys contact the Department of Revenue.
Can I see you later?
Because I have a lot of paperwork for you. So I'll give you the exact same stuff that I found initially, and then I'll give you this that I got from the Department of Revenue.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Is there a possibility that there could be others interested in this topic in the county, Ed?
I'm very sure that there might be, yes, because
I
we're,
would like to move this to a line item on the agenda, just so others could have an opportunity. This was brought up in a public.
Well, okay, so they wanted, this is a time-sensitive thing, they needed that letter
You?
on last Thursday, and Janice came in Friday at like 4 to get on the agenda, and I said she could come here in public comment. They needed to have it
I don't
back.
feel
Okay.
that we should probably leave signatures, open up for public comment. I
Yeah,
mean,
so they're gonna miss their deadline.
that,
we need to have, it's a public meeting, and anybody that wants or is interested in the topic should know on the front side so they can come. I know things get time sensitive, but at that point, how much business are we going to do aside from the public being able to comment on it, have their input on it, or whatever? I just have an issue with a signature being requested from a public comment.
this was sprung on us by the revenue, okay? They called us up after we got all of our paperwork done in a timely fashion, and then they gave us essentially 24 hours. And you just can't do that in 24 hours. So that's why we're trying to move forward on this. It doesn't have any, I don't think it has any impact on the county as in regards to where the money is being raised. At least to the way I see it.
And maybe there wouldn't be any comment on it, but in moving forward, you're making sure that there is none. And I think that's unfair to the citizens.
Yeah, this is a strange deal for public comment.
So this was a letter that the commissioners had already sent in to SLIB on behalf of the Osage Improvement Service District. They countered with a letter and said, this is additional information that we need, stating you don't require bonds, you don't, and it's the information that's in the letter.
If you read the letter, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
What if we just white out the water district part of it?
I would agree to that.
I mean, this is the one usual for public comment.
It is, but we couldn't put it in the minutes because it already, we were past that point in time. So it became a public issue then.
But
At bare minimum, also, we had approved the agenda, so on the front side of this meeting, this could have been added somewhere, at least. That way it is announcing to, everyone interested in the meeting that it will be talked about.
This, really, essentially, all this is just a letter saying the county supports it. You're not,
Correct.
there's no financial burden coming. to
None
us or
whatsoever.
anything. It's just that we support, that the county is supporting it.
Correct.
And this is a continuation. This isn't a brand new one. A continuation of a project.
It is, give me a second. This is part of what was given to us a while back of $250,000 from the state. And so in that regards, it would be a continuation, but it is it's not a new project, but it's out there.
Mr. Chairman. So it's a new funding of the same project.
Yes, resources to,
Just, you come in the middle of this game.
Correct.
Basically, their pond is too big, so they've got to shrink it down so they get some water to stand in it. So that's what this project
that
is.
is correct. That is,
It's kind of a improvement to the project that's.
it's already in
Yeah.
existence,
Yeah.
correct. If you want to put it
And
that
that
way,
way-
yes. What we're doing is dividing two cells.
Yeah.
The cells that were, they saw Osage growing, and that would have supported the growth. And now we got a slight little problem. There's no growth and the cells are way too big.
So my assumption is, the reason for this is because SLID board is meeting right now. But, so what's the pleasure of the board? So we can move on. Okay.
I make a motion to authorize the chairman's signature on the letter of support to the Osage Improvement District and Service District.
I'll second it.
We've got a motion on the floor, properly moved and seconded for the chairman's signature on a letter of support for the Osage Improvement and Service District. Any discussion? Go ahead, Terry.
I'm gonna vote, in light of the process and not the topic.
Understand. One thing, is it okay if this Osage Water District does not exist? Is it okay with the motion? I mean, is that a fact, or is it?
There has been some questions and nobody has given me a satisfaction to it. We were looking at it at one time and certain people said that it did exist and I had reservations on it due to William Curley's analyzing the paperwork. So that's where I sit right now. I don't really know. Okay, and I'm sorry that I cannot give you a satisfactory answer on that.
You know, in light of what the information's come up, it's apparent that the state land office don't have a problem with the way this is worded and everything. You know, I would move forward with it and then get your attorneys to look into it and make sure that for future projects down the road, if the water district is gone, you know, but in light of jeopardizing this project, I would move forward with it. Support and move forward with it.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you would update us.
I will. We'll do that. Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay?
You guys. Good point, I fully understand your.
It's a very good.
Discuss the, what you guys got. That is a sign replacement program.
All they want is to lose the public notice requirements so they can keep even more secrets than they're keeping now. I can't side with local governments in these fights anymore. I used to. For 20 years, I sided with them. I can't. I've got to back the legislature and I've got to back the Freedom Caucus in sort of breaking the chain and bringing local governments to heel.
And I think that that'll bring the people to heel. While I think the people deserve some, I think that people have become too accommodated to everything. And when you peel back government and local government, you're going to make the people uncomfortable too, but I think it'll make everybody stronger.
And hey, if the people can't handle it, they can vote these guys out in 2 years, right? That's the thing about the Wyoming legislature is they can neither help too much too rapidly or hurt too much too rapidly. Wyoming does have good reserve accounts.
That is a sign replacement program. Yes, I wanted to see what your guys' opinions were on whether we haul the gravel, we contract that out. That's a long ways to haul gravel, so I mean, it's quite a time and fuel commitment from us. If we contracted it out, we could easily cover 70,000 for gravel.
What works best for your crew? I mean, that's a long way to haul with, you got 3 trucks,
Yeah,
you have blades sitting there idle most of the day.
yeah,
And it would, how long would, if you contract, how long would it take to do it?
depending on how many trucks we got,
Yeah.
you know, I think 3 weeks or maybe 3 weeks. You know, we've got a lot of gravel of our own to haul yet,
Yeah.
and we've got a county road fund gravel project we started on either Courthouse summer that we did not finish, and we still have some. Depending on kind of spring and summer we have, who knows, we'll get to it. I know some of those people might get a little impatient with us, but we'll get on it.
If we were to haul our own gravel and put that all towards the gravel, do we need that much gravel for the road that we're putting on?
Yeah,
or-
we're actually gonna be quite a bit shorter.
We're gonna be short.
Yeah,
Even if we use just the 70,000 only on the ground.
yeah, that would actually, I was planning to go from where they turned off to where they drilled the well, and it would take us to actually on the sign.
Yeah,
That is us 2 miles a week shy,
Yeah.
2.5 miles.
That being said, I'd like to see us haul around just so we can stretch that gravel out as far as we can. It does take a little bit longer.
And if we haul up, we probably will end up having to do some of it moving for fuel.
Right.
That, not more in your car, but if you're going through.
Question is freight on the, is contract trucking, is that covered in the county road fund money? Will that pass for that?
And it's pricey.
I mean, you're caught in a rock and a hard spot there. You know, you tie your 3 trucks up for 3 weeks doing that, and everything else that's on the side too.
I figured in contract trucking, if you could get a bid at 170 an hour, up there, you're looking at probably 50,000 a mile in trucking. Probably that's quite a bit. At 70,000 for using all for gravel, that'd be roughly 3.5 miles.
Mr. Chairman,
just kind of,
I'm only, I feel to leave that to your discretion. You being in the situation that you are, knowing how far you can stretch that, and whether or not you have the time element to dedicate to that portion, while you have another project on the back burner. We're only so many people thick. I don't see a problem where we fill out the forms for you and have the, you know, the project eligibility form ready for county road fund and just using it. That's what the purpose of the money is for. and we should use it for that. But I would leave that at your discretion. It's just my opinion.
I would echo that same opinion. That's, you know, your working crew better than we do.
And the condition, pardon me, sir, and the conditions of the road right now. You know that way better than we do.
I was actually gonna visit with you guys too about using some county government fund money for gravel and trucking. We're drastically behind on a lot of these roads. We have a wet spring now. We have a lot of angry people up here. Keep about throw a dart at the map and wherever it lands and move gravel.
Well, that's what that fund is for, and, you know, I mean, I don't think we've ever really abused it in the past. We tried to take, you know, get the best bang for our buck, so I would, at your discretion, if you need it, go for it.
It's enormously expensive to do. You know, trucking and gravel, we're looking at least 60,000 to 70,000 a mile, which would limit us, you know, to a mile and a half per road, you know, to stay under the engineering threshold. That kind of money, you know, a mile on each road don't amount to much.
I would just ask that, like we always, I mean, I haven't been here for a while, but that those eligibility forms be filled out so that we can justify why. And I have no problem of having them, the chair sign those when available, and so that we can go through the proper processes for that money. But I think you have, and again, I'm gonna leave it back to your discretion, but Mother Nature has been kind to you to give you a little moisture. Whether we cuss it, swear it, or dance on the pin of the head over it. We've a wonderful opportunity right now after months of absolute dryness that you couldn't do a thing. So make hay while the sun shines. And if that takes a motion, Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Sure. We've got a motion for authorize Jimmy's, use his discretion on, using county road funds on repairing these problem roads in the county and getting the proper paperwork in front of the chairman so I can get a signature on
I'll second that motion.
it. And property, or is there any discussion on that? No. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I said that one.
Yeah, that's one too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Make a motion, we authorize Chairman signature on the MOU between the Wyoming Department of Transportation and the Highway Safety Program and the Weston County Commissioners, basically sign replacement project.
I second it.
It's been moved and properly seconded for the chairman's signature on the MOU between the Wyoming Department of Transportation and the County Commissioners for the Highway Safety Program. Discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of the crash report?
No, I do have a list of the roads the signs are going on, but I don't have the crash report with me.
Could you just give us a little summation, if that's possible, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Barton Road, Beaver Creek, Dry Creek, Morrison Road, Old Highway 85, Painted Hill, Salt Creek, and Skull Creek.
Sounds good to me.
And most of them will just be replacement.
Replacement.
Won't be too many new ones on. I think the one new one, there will be a curved sign on Old 85 before you make that sharp corner before the bridge, which is needed, so.
I've got a quick question, because I don't know the answer to this, but did a passport give Jim the authority to sign these MOUs? Because it's his name underneath the signature line.
I would say no.
Just says,
I would amend my motion to authorize Jim Hanson, Road and Bridge Superintendent, to sign the MOU.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners?
fair enough, perfect. So we have a motion on the table to allow Mr. Hanson to sign the MOU. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Jim.
I guess I would like to ask, do you guys want any involvement on what roads are included? Use the county budget money for travel. Something we need to have a discussion about, or
How's Morrissey looking?
it needs quite a bit. I'm using some of our money that we've got left on it right now. I think I've got a little under 3 miles of money left for it. It's not enough to cover everything we need, but we're looking at a lot of money to cover everything.
Yeah.
Another road I've got concerns on is the Graves Road. It needs work, but I was out there and measured on that road, and it varies from 30 to 35 foot wide. You know, that's 35 foot is ridiculous, and takes an enormous amount of gravel to cover it.
Once again, I haven't heard that much on gravel roads yet because of the dryness of what we've experienced. It doesn't matter what road. You know, you can come down off of my hill. I say my hill, but you come down on Highway 80 because I believe Greaves Road is one of them that he's having an issue with, and your high traffic. But again, I'd leave that to you.
I would, if you
Priorities.
you put a list of your priority list together and give it to us.
Well, I think we need to make a decision how we get on it. You know, do we go out there and pull shoulders and try to turn that in and get our bad spots? But I did have Marty double check yesterday and they had open IRP funding, so that is not an option. Kind of putting band-aids on it, and I think eventually it's going to need something more than that. You know, I think a long-term fix, we're probably going to have to try to find some kind of grant money for it.
I agree with you on that one.
I don't know how we go about that. It sounds like a lot of what they did with the RP is rolled over into the crib project. Part of that now, I believe. It's kind of the same with the rocks and you know, we have really wet spray parts of that are basically undrivable, but it makes no sense to travel on it the way it is. You know, those ditches will be cleaned out and go to the shipping. It's a fairly expensive project if you want to do it right.
What would your recommendation, Jimmy, be on say like that Greaves Road for a width? I mean,
28 to 30 foot. It doesn't need to be any wider than 30.
can they pull the gravel fairly easily from the edges and narrow it up?
Places, there's places the ditch needs cleaned. It's kind of a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get out of your ditch. Some of it's good, some of it isn't. You might really help it, and you might really screw it up.
Yeah.
It just depends. So I think if we were to do that, we'd want to pick a small spot and try it. If we're going to go out there and do a bunch of road, we could end up with a mess.
Should we do like a quarter mile, just a test strip and just see what you got? You know,
Certainly.
And perhaps give us an estimate of what that costs, and then we can extrapolate it out and see. And also of what parts probably don't need that, but we can go look for the, with you, if you gave us an estimated cost, and then we could have that project eligibility form filled out. If that's what you feel that your resources need to be put towards, then we as a board should be supporting you.
And the last traffic count I did on it, it was still good over 200 vehicles a day, so it's still fairly substantial traffic on it.
Then I, Mr. Chairman, and I think that's substantial. And I think we would fully support you on whatever it takes, and we would jump through those hoops to get what you need, even if you need to go out with contract. So my suggestion is to give yourself an estimate of how you know all this, and we'll support you.
Well, I guess do you want to go ahead and look for an engineer for this gravel project? Because, I think we're going to end up having to have them. Say, just doing a mile on the road, a lot of these, it's what gets caught up on some of them.
Mr. Chairman, that's a requirement.
Yes, it is.
And it can be paid for through that. And so let's use it for what it's for. It's not getting any better.
Right.
Let's do it.
I mean, if you got the engineer stamp on too, that's a heck of a lot easier for us to sell it when we want to pull the funds for that project. If an engineer says like, yeah, they're more apt to not even question the funds then.
Correct.
Would you guys be open to looking at the possibility of putting one on a retainer, county road fund projects like we've done in the past? Or would you rather advertise as needed?
I've gone down that road a little bit with Jimmy last year, 2 years ago. Timberline Services, they're not Timberline, I'm sorry, Kenny and Sundance. They said that they would consider some sort of a mild retainer for those kind of projects. And I even asked a couple of, finding a, what's the term, a certified, I forget the term, professional engineer to do this stuff is extremely difficult. And unfortunately, there's not very many of them around that aren't already combined with large, or with firms. But they would be an option. Kenny said that Rathburn, said that he would, their firm would certainly consider something like that on a case-by-case deal.
No, I think what we did the last time, I think it was $1,000 a month for 10 hours of work, and then anything beyond that, it was an hourly rate, which anything tied to a project is, I have to go through the county road fund. I think we would be on the hook for the retainer.
I have no issue. I mean, survey says that an RFP, but if you advertise and you get crickets.
All right, need to move forward. We're falling behind. What else do you want?
Well, I was giving you guys a general work update. We've been moving quite a bit of snow. We have 574 labor hours in snow removal this month. I did hire Timberline Services for 2 days on the Mallow Road to do some snow blowing out by the highway to kind of increase the visibility out there. As I said, we're using one of them. We're trying to grow a little more snow. And the one other question I did have is if we can do a budget adjustment out of the fuel tank maintenance account. We usually get $5,000 a year out of that, and I had to spend that for repairs on the pumps already. It's possible to take some more out of that big account.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Jim. Sorry to run you off.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
All right, my call. Apologies, Ken, but you're up.
Oh, you're fine. Kim Dean, managing editor of the Newcastle Journal, at proposals for a
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I'd like to begin by thanking you, the Commission, for running digital advertising the past few years with the Newsletter Journal, and for your continued consideration today of this proposal. I'm here mainly for NLJ readers, as I feel it is important to keep more of your constituents informed of these county notices. Those being courthouse closures, board openings, which only run once a month, help wanted ads, property tax reminders, the delinquent tax listing, and any election and special meeting notices. As you can see, the total spent for advertising by all departments in 2024 was $7,660.50. The estimated amount for 2025 is less since there will not be any election ads. Although this year, I would like to ask you to consider advertising the 2 commissioner meetings that are held in Upton, as I feel it would give more constituents notice who would like to drive over there for those meetings. Do you have any questions?
Kim, what's the rate at this advertising?
$11 a column inch. So it's, I mean, the 2025 ad proposal is an estimation because I just kind of worked off numbers previously. The delinquent tax listing was quite a bit more than it was last year. It was over 2 pages. So, because the year before it was only, but it was considerably smaller. It was just over 2,000, so. Because the year before it was only, but it was considerably smaller. It was just over 2,000. So I don't know why it was so big. I guess people just weren't paying the taxes.
Less the ads for the elections, would you say that the price is similar to the last year's? I mean, I'm just kind of going.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, of course, I'm hoping your delinquent tax listing is considerably less this year than it was last year. You know, and I don't know if you'll have any help wanted advertising, so that's $4,500 right there, so. But I do feel it's important to let people know when your courthouse is closed. And I did include January 1st of 2026, because it seems like when we come back, the first meeting of the year, it's, that's already happened, you know. January 1st has already happened, like your first meeting of the year is usually after that. And we didn't run that notice in our paper just because I didn't feel like we had approval to do that. But I think it would be nice if we could do that. So it could be considerably less than this. It could be $4,700 less.
In the case that it were less, is that what would be charged as the lesser amount?
Yeah, those are just estimations.
Okay. Mr. Wagner?
I guess, you know, in fairness, we put out for bids on the paper, for the official paper. Weston County Gazette, their bid came in at $6 a column inch. And you're wanting us to approve $11 a column inch for your paper, which is almost twice the rate that they're giving us for. In fairness, of competitive bidding, you know, and the money is tight, it's gonna get tighter. I would be against spending almost twice as much per column inch for advertising with Newsletter Journal versus the Weston County Gazette, where we actually put it out for bids.
But we print twice as many papers and mail twice as many papers, and all those costs are increasing for us. That's the price difference. You're reaching more people at $11 a column inch than the $6 a column inch.
I get that, but Weston County Gazette meets all the criteria for our official paper.
We're not talking about the legal newspaper. This is additional advertising.
Yeah. I understand that, but it's, we ask for competitive bids. They give us, both sides give us competitive bid as tax dollar money from our taxpayers or constituents. It'd seem irresponsible to spend twice as much per column inch advertising with another paper.
I don't see it that way. You know, posting a notice on your door that says it's closed, if somebody doesn't get the Weston County Gazette and gets our paper, I mean, I feel bad for the little old lady or man that has to walk up and say, oh, it's closed today.
But on the other hand, what about the person that gets the Gazette but not the Newsletter Journal?
Well, you've already covered there, Ed.
Yeah. So we've already, that's what I'm saying though. It's up to the people. If they want to subscribe to a paper, they can go to the other paper and get the ads.
This is about informing more constituents of your business.
Do we put those closures on the website in a timely fashion?
I kind of look at it a little differently. I feel like if we had chose the Newsletter Journal as our official paper, we would probably still do some of this in the Gazette. I think it's, for us, the responsibility for getting the information out there to all, as many constituents as we can get. That's our responsibility, especially closures and job openings and things like that. You want to reach as many constituents as you want, or that you can. And I think it would go either way. I think if the Gazette wasn't our paper and the Newsletter was, they would probably be giving us the same kind of opportunity to put this stuff in their paper. And I think it's our responsibility to do that.
This is a question more for the board. Just say Jimmy hires trucks for $125 an hour. The other company comes in and says, oh, we're gonna do it for $180 an hour, and we just hire them. Why do we put stuff out for competitive bids, on that? Are we opening ourselves up for a lawsuit by, when we have a competitive bid for a price, then we just hire somebody else at a higher rate?
I don't think this is part of that competitive bid. This is additional to we've already decided our competitive bid. We've already decided that the Gazette is our official paper. But that doesn't stop us from covering other bases. That would be our prerogative to advertise, or it's the same as if we put up flyers or we put it on the internet. We're trying to get as much information out there as we can and be as transparent as we can to as many people as we can.
So does that authorize the Gazette to go to $11 a column inch? Because that's what we're paying, we pay this paper?
But this isn't part of the bid. This isn't part of the bid process. This is separate. That's why she's here today. Instead, yes, she was here during the bid process. She lost that. This is additional things that we don't have to put all of these things in there. We're not making a contract with her today. She's just saying this is what we've spent in her paper last week, and last year, and this is what it would be possibly this year, depending on how big, say, our delinquent tax notice is and things like that.
Mr. Board, first, sorry.
Couple of things that I'm taking into consideration here. For one, this is an advertising proposal for the upcoming year. In order to advertise something effectively, you would need the volume placed in an appropriate amount in order to push that advertising. And I think that when we're trying to compare apples to apples, say for instance, the Gazette is so much per column inch, the Newsletter Journal is so much per column inch, volume is not the same. So just the dollar amount alone is not something effectively, it's not an effective variable to only look at. We know that the volume of the Newsletter Journal is substantially higher, but we also know that their online placements is, the volume there is substantially higher. So I think something that we need to consider is this is an advertising proposal. Are we interested in advertising or are we not?
Well, Ed, Susie advertises the delinquent tax listing with us every year, and she also puts it in the Gazette, and you've never raised an issue about that.
I know, but
It's the same, they're
We're running
advertising
into
in
time.
both papers.
the dollars are gonna start getting really short, really quick with all these.
I'd like to add something. I don't know that I have issues with advertising, but I would way rather prefer seeing it on a case-by-case basis. Instead of entering into a guaranteed deal that we're gonna do this today knowing another issue that we have to discuss later this afternoon that's gonna potentially be huge on our finances, you know, I would prefer to, if something comes up, we do it on a case-by-case basis. I guess personally, it would be my feelings on it. I mean, if it's important, it needs to get out in front of the community, we need to get it in front of somebody, but I'd be hesitant agreeing to a $7,000 proposal. I mean, I know it could be less, like you said, but I'd certainly be hesitant right now to agreeing to it. Any other discussion? Yes, you.
I guess that brings up a question, Kim. So this is a proposal of just what we kind of normally put in the paper.
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of the 2 Upton meeting notices, that's new. I mean, it is a case-by-case basis, actually, Chairman. I mean, because, except for the courthouse closures, the board opening ads run once a month, but that's gonna drop down to 11 because we didn't get one in January, so that's actually gonna be less. The property tax reminders, I think, are important because ideally, I would hope it would remind people to pay and your delinquent tax listing could go back down. But, I mean, Susie has always put that in both papers.
So essentially, I mean, we're not doing any contract with you or
No,
anything. This is
no.
just what you're going to offer us,
Right.
and it's always on an as needed or as decided basis, correct?
Correct.
So it's not like we are saying these are all the things we're promising to put these in paper. We're not doing that.
Well, as far as I know, you don't have any health wanteds right now or special meeting notices. So the ones that you would definitely have, except it's only gonna be 11 board opening ads, not 12.
So if anytime we want to put something in the paper, that's just the price. So I guess I'm not understanding what the problem is. Why it's so divisive, since it's something we've always done. It's up to us if we want to do it or not.
I actually don't think we've always done it here. That might be a miscalculation. I think it's been more the last several years, couple of years.
Okay.
But, I don't know, what's the pleasure of the board? We need to move on. We're late.
I move we accept Newsletter Journal's 2025 advertising proposal up to $6,459.
Got a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I second that.
Been properly moved and seconded to accept the Newsletter Journal advertising proposal of $6,459 up to that number. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay.
I'm a no as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Where's the page? Sorry, Aaron.
You're all right.
I'm obviously not capable of doing 2 of them at once today.
Oh,
I think it's called winter has arrived and my hands are frozen.
I almost emailed this.
I'll give you those back. It crossed my mind as I hit print.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
So Erin Hershey with the Weston County Extension Office and the 4-H. So last week was busy, which is good. January went by really fast with lots of stuff. We're up to 168 youth enrolled so far in 50 different project areas, which is really crazy when you think about all the different things that we have kids doing. In January and all spring, I'm really pushing the 4-H clubs to get active and being involved doing some really great things, and we'll talk a little bit about it in the community service. But there's so many benefits to the 4-H clubs because we're mixing kids that are 8 to 18 years old, and you just see so much happen in that. They learn some basic parliamentary procedure, they're building friendships, they're gaining those lifetime skills that maybe we aren't hitting anywhere else. So it's just a really fun atmosphere, and if you guys get a chance to visit one of the 4-H club meetings, I encourage you to do so because they are so fun to watch those kids interact and kind of find their place within a different group than maybe they interact with at school or those different age ranges. So it's just a really neat atmosphere there. Something new that we started, I think the first ones went out in December, is the 4-H member spotlight. So all of the kids that turned in their 4-H stories last fall, I am turning into 4-H member spotlights. And so every Wednesday we roll out a new one on Facebook, and it just highlights a piece of their story, what they're involved in, a fun picture. They're hanging in my window, so we're rotating through each couple weeks. I think they're in the window for 2 weeks. And I have some other big plans, so hopefully that stuff will but just a really fun way to spotlight these kids that turned in stories, but also spotlight 4-H in the kids' words. So I encourage you to go find them on Facebook because they are really fun to read through, and their stories are just gold. Like, they have all of their positive experiences in their words, which has been really fun. And hopefully we're going to push closer to that 168 of them turned in this fall. So that's something new and exciting there. So community service projects are another thing that we're really encouraging the kids to do. And Newcastle does a great job. They have the My Golden Valentine project. And honestly, I'm not quite sure who all ran all of that project, but several of the 4-H clubs are providing cookies and Valentines for that project, which is coming up on the 14th. We're going to decorate some cookies and make Valentines on Friday at our office for that as well. And then this year, one of the 4-H clubs created the Valentine's Mission, and their goal was to create 10,000 cards across the entire United States from 4-H kids to utilize. So I think we had 3 of our 4-H clubs sign up to do it, and their Valentines are going to that My Golden Valentine project. So just a really cool community service on a nationwide scale, which has been really fun. And then Weston County 4-H as a whole is working on preparing birthday boxes that will be available at both the Newcastle and Upton food pantries, and our goal is to provide them all year long. So they're a 9x13 disposable cake pan with a cake mix, frosting, balloons, a birthday card, and a can of soda. So you mix the can of soda into the cake mix if you don't have the egg and oil, and it makes a birthday cake. So it comes everything ready to go. So we met the end of January and put the first 18 of them together at the office and had a lot of fun. So that's a project I'm really looking forward to continuing all year. January, shooting sports practices kicked off the first of the year, so we've got a huge contingency of kids shooting in Upton and Newcastle. We did our beef tagging and weigh-in. We ended up doing that on the 26th. We had 32 4-H and FFA steers tagged and weighed. So we're down a few from what we were last year, but still a really good number there. So we started a crochet club. One of my 4-H moms is teaching the kids to crochet, and we kind of started it, and it was like, if we have 3 or 4 sign up, we'll be great. We had 15 sign up, and 10 came last Wednesday, and they had a great time. So they're going to start meeting twice a month, which is really exciting. And Friday we cooked waffles, pancakes, and we whipped cream and freezer jam in Upton with 9 kids, and we actually partnered with Cook County, and the new educator in Cook County came down, and we just had a really fun afternoon cooking with the kids. And something that I look forward to, my goal is this year to do 1 project a month extra in Upton, is to go over and do some fun activities there. So upcoming events, shooting sports will continue. We'll actually have our first county shoot in 2 weeks, I believe, in Upton and Newcastle. The crochet club is going to start meeting twice a month. Food Fun and 4-H this month is at Newcastle, not Upton. And then that Valentine project. Our dog project kickoff party is Sunday after our camp planning meeting, and I'll watch later today to give an update on what we're looking like for Mallow. But we're going to start planning camp, so we're really excited there. And then county fair preparations have started, which is crazy because we're going to blink and it's going to be July.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
We're going to start planning camp, so we're really excited there. And then county fair preparations have started, which is crazy because we're going to blink and it's going to be July. But we had our fair, I just modified mine a little bit from last time, and we were going to have the fair superintendent's meeting after the last meeting, and so we did. The fair theme this year is Wham Boom Pow, a superhero fair. So start planning your superhero outfits for county fair for the parade. And I will start working on county fair judges, and fair award donor letters should go out. I believe our plan is by the 1st of March. And then I'm really excited. I am headed to Las Vegas, February 24th through the 28th for Western Region 4-H Institute. So it is the 13 Western states do the 4-H Institute, and I believe it's every 3 years. It's for educators in their first 5 years of being an educator. And it's just a really cool program that's put on by a lot of the more experienced educators come and teach. And so I'm really excited for that. So I will have a little bit of travel costs with that, but most of it is covered by UW funds there. So I will be out of the office the last week of February, but other than that, we're just going like crazy. And I passed out Vicky's class schedule for her upcoming stuff, and Crystal is working on getting a sensible nutrition class up and running, hopefully starting in February as well. So as I have that information, we'll pass it along. But any questions for, and pesticide training classes, February 19th. So if anyone needs to renew your private pesticide applicator license, if you sit through that class, you don't have to take the test. If you do not come sit through the class for 4 hours, you then have to come sit and take a test in our office. So it's much less painful to sit through the class.
What was the date of that again?
What?
What was the date?
February 19th. 9 to 1 at the fairgrounds.
Good report as always, Aaron. Anybody got anything for Aaron?
Okay, and I'll just, kind of stay up to date on what's going on with Mallow as we go there. But we're excited. Hopefully we're going to have some of our team leaders all get together Sunday if the weather cooperates from Crook and Niobrara and start planning for overnight camp if that's.
Just for future reference, what dates is that camp?
June.
3rd weekend?
Let me look. I got it on my phone. Off the top of my head today. I want to say we're the very last weekend in June. June 27th through the 29th.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
Anything for Aaron?
Any questions about any of the extension stuff? So
Big thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
What is the date the shooting sports start?
So we started January 6th. So they shoot every Monday and Tuesday here in Newcastle. Tuesdays we start at 4:45 to 7, and on Tuesdays they go 4 to 7. And then on Mondays they shoot at 5 and 6 in Upton. And then the county shoot for this first 6 weeks will be, it might be next week. And then we'll switch to 22 in Tampa here and air in Upton. And then we'll shoot from 4 to 7 both Monday and Tuesday at the gun club.
Cliff said last night, county shoot is Monday.
Okay, so yes, next week. I hadn't looked through stuff and I had a sick kiddo yesterday, so I wasn't in the office.
Got a
so-
million things going on.
Yeah. I kind of have to look at my calendar sometimes, but yeah, it's fun to go watch. We have such an incredible bunch of shooting sports leaders. They're amazing. So, all right, well, have a great rest of your day, guys. Thank you.
Morning, Dan. You all right? How are you guys? Good. Good morning. How you doing? Good. Detention employees. Yeah. A lack of.
Yeah, so, we could have probably done this without coming here, but I wanted to give you an idea what we're gonna do. We're slotted for 8 positions at 18, whatever it is an hour. We can't fill half of those hardly. So what we'd like to do is take one of those positions that we're not filling, divide that money out, and bring the pay up. And hopefully attract some more individuals to come down and work that detention center. So we're doing it with, 4 now certified? 5?
3.
Yeah, 3 certified. It's killing us. So what I'd like to do is take that outside position, divide that money up, to give them a pay raise, and then maybe we can recruit the remainder of those positions. It wouldn't change our lineup. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, with the caveat that at some point, if the trend stays the way it is, a year or two, I'm gonna come back and probably ask to backfill that position. Maybe. I don't have that magic wand to know where we're gonna be at, but this pre-certified is it's getting really, really tough. Our numbers are going up in the jail. We're back to getting close to 2016 numbers, which we were swamped back there. So. And they're not necessarily, our Mayberry's Otis that just comes in and hangs out for the night. We're getting some pretty rough ones to deal with. So, need quality. I don't want to lower any standard. Our biggest issue is, and I'm sure most of you remember this, the camp went, DOC went to 27 an hour. And then, to make it even harder, they lowered their standards. Across the board, if we wanted to, we couldn't, because those standards were set by Wyoming law, even youngsters to do that. So, not that they, one of them, I don't know if he could pass the BT test anyway, but would like to come down here. That's really hard down here. That's really hard. Where they employ 54, 50, just doesn't exist. So we have to recruit a lot of times from there.
So where are your detention officers at? Wage?
So if they're staff.
So what
It's
we
not
did,
in our budget.
right? Well, what we did years ago
On the benefit side.
I didn't figure that out.
It's gonna push that over. But as long as you only got 4 of them, our employees, it won't.
In the budget because all the overtime.
I mean, not having the dollar figures, but just thinking about that you're gonna have to bump up your other 3. That's only eventually bumping up again. So we're looking at 4 I'm almost saying you probably are gonna lose a couple employees to know, in order to do that.
And that,
That's fair enough. I understand. I'd almost be to the thing of agreeing with you, but only going down to the 6, losing a couple because of the mess.
well, and
We may have to do some adjustments anyway if the property tax comes through and all those things that are gonna hit us. There makes,
you know, and potentially facing life sentences, you know, those kind of things, it is hard work. And then you get every once in a while, we get the individual that just tear shit apart and, you know.
never heard of it.
It is not an easy job. If anybody's ever worked in corrections of any kind, it takes a special kind of person to do that anyway. I mean, you're locking a lot of crap. I mean, it can be done and the right person can actually have some fun doing it, but you gotta get them in, you gotta recruit them.
Thank you.
You know, and I've got a kid that's coming in now, worked at Loaf and Jug. He's maybe gonna make $1 more than I.
Better benefits.
And they got good benefits over there too.
Do they?
So
That's fair enough.
that's what we're looking at.
Bad jobs.
We get to send them like page 2 to do this within a year. You know, do so many, and it's down by age the way to do that. And
Yeah, I mean, they already
we've got them on our website, we've got them in our
so there's no surprise.
packet. They can look up the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy's deal, and they're the,
And that's.
Let's set the next meeting and try to get some resolution for it.
I'm gonna throw another one out there. I'd like to backfill his position. He's a patrol sergeant. I don't want to fill the sergeant position. I just want to make that a deputy position. On the patrol side, this is what we're running into. We are carrying about 1,500 hours of comp time. It's taken us about 1,500 man hours to work the last 6 felony cases. I don't have an overtime budget, so my comp time is starting to get out of control. And I want to, doesn't have to happen today, obviously, but I want you to really please consider letting me backfill that position for patrol. That would give me 3 on each side of the shift with the supervisor they got. And we are working some, I mean, obviously you guys know some of it, what's reported anyway, we're working some pretty significant cases that requires all of those man hours plus what we got to do on a day-to-day basis. You know, we were just talking about that with one of the deputies down there, and she was figuring out what one case took her to do, and in the process of working through those cases, you're doing the bin inspections, you're doing the paper services, you're doing all of those types of calls on top of that. The reason it's getting us into comp time or overtime issues, one of the reasons is we don't have time to get those people off and days off. And what creates that on the front side is once we develop a case and we turn that in, we're on a timeline. And we have no control over that timeline. So you have guys that are scheduled on vacation, scheduled on days off, those kind of things. And they got to show up for a prelim. They got to show up. You know, we've had to call people back from vacation because courts decided we're going to do this day. You know, those kind of things. So I need you folks to really consider that, and I'd like to talk about that in the future as well.
So is that something we could visit with again?
Oh yeah,
I think would be more prepared.
I wanted to put it in your ears.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have, besides Jason, there's 4 detention employees right now. So
Yeah.
all 4 of these will move to
Well, one of them's
the
not certified yet.
2385.
So 2 of those aren't certified yet. So they would be the lowest wage, what's that?
18.
So,
But you could, for this purpose, it would be good to figure it that way. I agree.
I would like to have that figure, if
Yeah.
basically that
The
they're
high
certified,
figure,
so when they become, we're not coming back
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
same.
so
I
then
apologize.
5 at that high wage.
Are you, yes, Mr.
This is, excuse me, I apologize. Because budget is coming up and some scary things are happening, and you've done this for us before, Sheriff Kohler, would you give us a report of some type? Because you're running into this 1,500 hours comp time. You're obviously running into a problem where people are overworking. You don't have enough people to fill the slots. If you would give us somewhat of a study so that we would understand what local around us are being paid, benefits, that type of thing, so that we can have a better understanding of how we could fulfill this office, department in a more qualified manner, so that we can get to that point where you're not doing that. Because as Commissioner Erman, that's me, by the way, Huber stated, in the long run, you may be casting a lot more out there. So if you would do that for budget for us, so that we have some general idea, I'd appreciate it. I know that's off topic, but I think we need to have a discussion.
We turned the wage study in last budget for both sites, patrol.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we'll do that again. That's not hard to do.
Okay.
The reason we did that last time, one of the things we tried to do last budget cycle was bring those detention officers up to
what you're doing now,
what the patrol guys are working. Because I will tell you, that's pretty much the standard across the state, with two exceptions, 2 county exceptions. They pay the same across the board. They're ranked the same across the board, that kind of thing. So patrol guy and a detention officer.
just trying to figure out how we can solve.
Yeah, but we can do that. We could actually do that prior, but.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, didn't do much. Anything else on that, Brian?
It's cold out.
Yeah, while you're here real quick, we're gonna be going over this at the end of the meeting. And I'm wondering if you want to unless you want to be here at the end of the meeting. I wonder if that's not quite appropriate, that signature. Doing that, maybe, doing it. Would that be here by your signature being authorized?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That was probably because I wasn't here. I know what you mean. The same guy signing the same. Yeah. I can absolutely do that.
Thank you. Then we'll do it at the end of the meeting. All right, so we're gonna have the old business, both discussion on what the pay increase might be, because you walked out. What that might do to us on our benefits, right? And then also some of an idea of what we might be looking for if we do a replacement on or backfill Dan's position, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
in addition to that, it might be helpful if we could see how much is being paid out in overtime
Yeah,
right now.
that'd be great.
In detention?
Mhm.
Yeah. We got an overtime budget there.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank
Turn off the heat when you go outside, please.
Before you go to the next one, do you want a quick update what happened in Cheyenne?
No,
Huh?
no. We're on time finally, Mr. Turner.
Good morning.
Morning.
What we want to cover first, the elevator, they're gonna have a scheduling meeting, Kona is on Thursday, so I'll know when they're gonna be back up to actually fix the piston. I should know that Thursday. Black Hills, I got an estimate for you from Black Hills Plumbing and one from Wilson Plumbing. The hot water heater is down over at the annex, and along with the recirculation pump and the expansion tank would be replaced at the same time. And then the 4-H group asked if we could put in a garbage disposal, which would run about $200. Black Hills Plumbing's total is $2,202.07, and Wilson is $2,700.
Say that numbers again? The two copies.
Black Hills Plumbing gave a bid of $2,202.
Oh, yeah, we got these, I think, yeah, okay.
Expansion tank, a recirculation pump, and the garbage disposal.
And the cars.
Pleasure of the board. On the situation.
So they've had how, quite a while.
It's like lukewarm. I mean, I've got it turned all the way at the heater and you don't drink. They lined up. And the recirculation pump is actually bad. And I think the expansion tank would just, because it's a small 30-gallon tank.
Move to accept Black Hills Plumbing's bid for $2,202. The repairs needed.
The motion on the floor that's Black Hills Plumbing's. $2,202.07. Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Brendan on that.
Yeah, move to the library. The west wall in the book sale room, at some point in time in the past, there was a lot of water damage. It's peeled, there's some soft spots, and then there's a storage room off of that book room where there had been water damage at some point, the foundation crumbling in along the bottom seam. I got John Francis to give me a quote for doing that. He said it'd be $1,400 to fix it. And I asked him his warranty. He said, I stand by my word. He goes, if there's more water damage, I can't guarantee that, but other than that, he said he stands by it.
How much is left in that? Okay, that's the pleasure of the board on the John Francis quote for repair of the library. That's the pleasure of the board on the John Francis quote for repair of the library.
To accept.
Motion accepted. Mr. Francis's library repair. Second.
I'll second.
Moved properly second. Discussion.
On the water damage, you said, is it like a surface crumbling?
Just in some spots, like you can rub it. Most of the stone is good. He's gonna take a wire wheel and grind off the soft spot and then repaint.
Is this from sprinkler statement?
It may have been in the past. It hasn't. There's been no water leakage in South so I'm not sure when the damage happened.
Any other discussion?
This is kind of the quotes we want to get away from. It just says, where there's no.
Yeah, I asked him and he's like,
that's another side note that we're working on is our quote, but yeah.
The motion on the floor, all in favor, please please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Then we've got fire suppression system, repair quotes. I've got one for the library, one for the courthouse, one for the jail. And then the courthouse will need a 3-year inspection this year. The jail is going to need a 5-year, so is public health. And then I will also be getting a quote what it's going to cost. Public health is an antifreeze loop in their fire system, and the antifreeze is degraded to a point where it needs replaced. So I'll be getting a bid for what it's going to cost to replace it. Long time. And with the 5-year at the jail is going to be $1,736. The 5-year at public health will be $1,236. And we already have the other.
Yeah.
Not, I've got to decide if we do it or not.
The fire suppression is good.
Do you need anything from us right now on that stuff?
Whether, I mean, do you want to approve the repairs at the jail and here and the library? Do you want to hold off and wait for now? I guess it's
Talking fire suppression.
the sprinklers. We got some corroded ones at the jail. We got some painted ones. It says they got to raise some of them to make sure they're hitting the right areas and lower some to make sure they're hitting the right areas. The library's got some corroded ones. Also needs the correct amount of spares in the head box. Here we've got a valve that leaks occasionally that needs replaced, and some sprinkler heads that were painted on the remodel that need replaced.
Do we really have a choice? I mean, that's
If the fire marshal comes out and starts doing inspections, no, we're gonna get dinged. I mean, so there's no.
Well, and business sense too is.
Well, like the antifreeze, we're gonna have to do that. I mean, we go another winter if it degrades enough and that freezes up, then we're gonna have a flood damage at our fault.
Or we have a fire and they don't work.
Yes.
And, you know, that's.
Then you're looking at lawsuits.
Yeah.
On another note, like these are excellent. I like how they, and this is an RFP basically, pictures, explanations of all the material that's going to be used.
Mr. Chairman, I think we can follow through on what happened. Put that on YouTube. Did this one get replaced with this one? You know.
Yeah.
Right, and check that mark off.
Yep.
So that we
And this company is very thorough. The employees go through days of torture with the alarms.
our maintenance follow through on the fire suppression systems.
The motion to let Mr. Turner move forward with our fire suppression system maintenance. Is there a second?
Second.
The proper second, is there further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Other thing I had, I talked to Howard White. The ramp, I don't know if you guys was meeting with him once before. I wasn't involved in setting that. They're worried they don't want to be liable for any extra damage that may occur structurally to the building.
I think we kind of knew that going into it because Nick's was visiting with us. We said we understand that there's going to be probably brake repair and or we're going to have to do something there to reface it. Yeah, I mean, my understanding 4 or 5 years ago, whenever we did that was
understood.
Yeah.
It's understood.
Okay. If he can come in, ask him if he can come into the next meeting. Because he also wanted to know how much remodel you want to do on these 2 offices to do the windows. He's like, if we're gonna do the arch, he's gonna have to raise the ceiling at least where the windows are and angle it, and then cut out the current, how it's boxed in to do the arches. Said if not, he can do a square window and put in a new facade for the top round, how it is now.
Don't roll your eyes.
I'm sorry, did you hear me?
I heard your eyes roll.
These are the questions he had for me that I have for you.
I would like that information.
It'd be good to have him and just.
Yeah, we could, we can visit about it.
I'll give him a call and see if he can come to the next meeting. I will let you know that. Anything else for the board for me?
No, Brandon, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Our heads go to 3 minutes.
Policies
and procedures, Mr.
So did everybody get the email? Or? I have paper copies too, if anybody wants a paper copy.
This is what we're looking at?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did not print one for that. Thank you. My printer doesn't like to work at all.
So this is just stemming from a few months ago when we were going over our policies and procedures and wondering if they were adequate or not. So I had forwarded it to the state budget office, who has a grants division, and they consulted with Hagerty Consulting. And this is their assessment and just their thoughts on what we had and what we might consider adding.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
there's a lot to
Yes.
this apple. In fact, this is a bushel
Yes.
of apples. And I'm not sure that you can just wave a magic wand and say this is how it's gonna happen. I think we're gonna have to take a bite.
No, that's why I was just giving it to you guys for review, to look over it
It's
and
big.
consider it. Yes.
It's big. I did circle a couple of them, but I think this is a discussion that if we have you do it, that you do not look at this with such a broad overview that it gets to be that it's a forest and you can't see the trees, because this is a lot.
Yeah.
So I think, Mr. Chairman, that if we allow you to pick and choose one piece of that and then bring that piece to us and we'll have a discussion on that piece, I think that's appropriate. But this is a lot. It's amazing. So I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah. So I was just giving it to you just for your information, if you guys wanted to just take it into consideration. So. I also have the surveys we put out. I've gotten 4 back, so I don't know if you guys wanted those or hang on to them until later.
Good hang.
So
Do you,
I can hang on to them if you don't want them just yet.
was there you didn't really put a time frame to?
I did not. I could put another email out and just with,
Do one
you
more,
know,
do one more term.
maybe by the end of
Yeah.
February,
Yeah.
give them a month. Okay.
Good.
And could you add, as per Commissioner's request again?
Yes. Yep.
Please.
There we go. So,
It's not that easy.
I think this is great though, Cam, it gives you a guideline for, we need to be RFIs and RFPs and there's certain things that this absolutely isn't necessary for, but it gives us a baseline to look at and
gives us a good foundation for the future if
Yeah.
we did want to go farther.
I don't know how far we want to go into the weeds of, are you an American company necessarily or whatever. It's probably not gonna broach our table very often, but.
Well, there's one like the pre-procurement process. I mean, I did circle that one. It's to streamline and document to have all those key details in there are something that we're not always, just like we just received a bid that didn't have quite that information on it. And we understand that's a specialty item, but to have that kind of information put down and that we can go back to it, I think like that one is very important. And I did read all of them, and that one's the one that kind of made my pen encircle it. So I appreciate you doing this, and I do think there's some very important key elements here. So thank you for doing it.
Anything else for Ms. Jenkins?
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
I missed one, sorry, you guys should
Time's
have.
up.
Too late.
Yep.
Holes in the floor at the library, $200.
No.
What kind of?
CLT, you can walk and it's like where a furring strip or something broke off or where it's going through the joints in a couple different spots. They're worried pushing the boat cart over if they're gonna go through it.
Get her done.
Seems like a maintenance item.
Yeah.
I thought you missed one.
I did. I got downstairs, I'm like, wait, there's one more.
Well, I just stuffed it in my pile. I was like, She's coming with a customer.
So if we can blend, figure out a way to blend this with like our procurement deal that we were, our bid checklist.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, not necessarily gobble it all into one big giant thing, because you're, like your John Francis quotes, I mean, if he's hauling a little bit of chip off a wall, I don't really see the necessity of that, but what this mainly stemmed from is curiosity of the cupola, yeah,
And the elevator.
and the elevator. Yeah. And I think it's important that we,
No. Well, it does till I write it. Every time I write it, it stops working.
It knows you.
No kidding, so I
Becky's
quit
no
writing it.
I make a motion to have Becky.
Oh yeah, I'm Colby.
Do you write it? Do you kill watches? Do you know where those people?
go see if it works right now.
No, I really don't like it because the bar is like bent like this, so it clunks. It's scary to ride. I won't ride it.
What about charge admission this for a roll ride?
You go ride it. If we could, go get in
I
it.
did right a month or so ago, and I went clunk, and I'm like, oh.
It scared me, and it feels like you're just gonna go plunging.
So comfortable.
I hit go to 2. It was fine going downstairs, and then I had to bring the cart up, and I hit 2. All of a sudden, the light changes to 3, and I go to the top, and the doors won't shut, and there I am stuck at the top with the cart.
Don't ever take your lunch with you if you ride the elevator.
Don't ever get on it without your cell phone.
And pick your potty corner.
Yeah, so that's done that to me twice. Or it'll just, the doors won't shut.
Hi, guys.
Some more reinforcements.
Yeah, I did, and there's gonna be more coming.
Uh-oh. I hate it when that happens.
Statute book. This is also, this is a statute that pertains to. And Michael has called me this morning, and he doesn't want you to make a decision until he gets here to look at it. But I think it's up to my decision. Do what?
Is he on his way up here?
He says he might be up there. I don't know where he's at. I seen him come up here earlier, but I don't know if he's upstairs. But anyway, this pertains to Gasamat Oil Corporation, and you guys signed the NOVCs for this to happen. This isn't dated. But, January 7th, you signed the NOVCs saying that we had to do a supplement, 2 supplements on them and a rebate. So we did the rebate, we sent them their check for $8,000 and Yeah, 881035. We sent them a check for that. We also sent them a bill for the,
12,650.
what?
For the 12,650.
Yep, for the 12/6/50/42. Okay, so this John Gallagher, who was part of this gasomat, he called and he wanted us to forgive the interest. I told him no, because it was their mistake, error in reporting, and that I couldn't forgive the interest, and that's why my statute pertains to when the interest is.
The payment was due December of 2022, therefore, they do a correction on it, we figure interest from December of 22 when that original payment was due. So he has a couple years of interest that added up.
And he's not wanting to pay the interest. So I told him I would go talk to my commissioners and see what their thoughts were, and he was going to contact his general counsel. And he evidently did, and Michael called me about 9 o'clock this morning and said, what's this all about? So I tried to explain to him, he says, well, don't let them make a decision until I get there. They made the mistake, I feel the interest is due, and I don't feel that we should forgive it.
You know, no,
You can go ahead. You had that first.
you know, it's their mistake. I would hate to set a precedent if we give an interest one time, and then all of a sudden we get one that's several $100,000, and they want us to give the interest, what we did here. I would be against even considering forgiving the interest when it was their mistake.
Yeah.
Because if we did it the other way, they'd be expecting us to do the interest.
Exactly. And
How much did the interest amount be?
one of them was 1,228.46, and the other one was 2642.38, like $3,000
Is that total of 38,7084?
Yeah, 38, so yeah, 84. And then also, I did speak to a Mike Sasay.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, at the Wyoming Minerals, Oil and Gas, and I asked him, I says, I told him the story, and I said, is interest due? And what date should it be figured from? And he told me that I was correct in charging the interest from December of 22, and it was Gasomet's error in recording, so the bill is due with interest. So, that's my thoughts on it.
I can't imagine what Michael would have to input on this. It's pretty black and white that they know the interest.
It's pretty much, yeah. But I don't know, because I don't know if I'm gonna have to submit a letter to somebody, or somebody's gonna tell them that their interest is due, that I just spoke to you guys. Okay.
Go ahead.
I think that letter needs to come from the county attorney.
Okay.
I do too.
Okay, so, yeah, I believe he might finish theirs out. But then I also told him I was going to be here at 11:05 too, and that's early. So,
Well, let's take a brief recess. 7 minutes.
okay.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks, Karen.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for all your input there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
should get
yeah.
OBC, so.
That's called
She
moral
had-
support.
She
I am
had another,
30 round
I
flat.
have a crumpled piece of paper with words on it.
that pertained to that same guy saying that.
Why, was he not very nice?
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
Oh, I didn't talk to him.
This Mac, I know, he was.
No, she crumpled up your paper.
No, it's just, I mean, if it's a reporting error, then that's, I'm sorry, it's just an incentive to be more diligent with your reporting. If you don't want to pay interest, then you need to be more careful.
That's correct.
Well,
That's my.
a lot of that reporting stuff too, it's they're pulling numbers out. And, you know, if they want to project it low so they can kind of slide under the rug for a year.
Or two, or three.
Yeah, for that long, you know.
I mean, it's speculative reporting, so
Yeah.
if you shoot high or shoot low, there are gonna be consequences to pay. I mean, they got a rebate for
Yeah.
$8,000.
What interest do you charge?
I don't know what it is, 8% maybe?
You know,
I don't know.
You take a multi-million dollar company, you start sliding, 15 reports, it's got 400,000 or 500,000 under it, you're making 22% on a money market, and you're getting charged 8%, you know.
You might wanna be on time.
Yep. Well, it's just, you know, they could use that money in a money market, draw more interest than we're gonna charge them.
Well, he can pay his bill too.
We can't set that precedence, and
Well,
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
you know, some of these companies, if that's gonna put them out of business, you probably should have been out of business before already.
Yeah.
We reached out to other county treasurers too, and they said, yep, that's how we figured it too,
That's
so
how
it's
we figured it.
statewide.
Yeah.
And on this one, NODC, it was a, what was, you guys had that, you and Jeanette talked, and it was a late filing? Yeah, it was a late filing, so he was late filing on this one, is why.
Well, he never reported on this one, he never reported any production for that year. On this, I had to create the whole new file for this one. He reported nothing.
Well, I'll have to find it.
That's just to make sure.
Make sure he doesn't.
Yeah.
Or I can email you if you want to give my notes here.
I'll text him and see if he.
Yeah.
She was trying to get over there.
I'm just checking.
Are you?
No, I forgot my appointment at 9 o'clock.
Susie,
Yeah.
and those are hard to get.
Yeah, they are, especially when she's pregnant and she's going on maternity.
Did you end up going down there or no?
No, they wouldn't take me after I was late. So, yeah, if she doesn't
Don't
let
you
her.
have a reminder in your phone for
Well,
stuff?
she said it when she walked in. I knew I had to go, but then I got tied up and it's 9:25 and I thought, oh.
Susie, it's like a year out for scheduling.
Well, they said that because it was Monday, so 8 o'clock Monday, I think I can remember to go.
Put it in your phone and then it'll go off like
My
15
daughter,
minutes.
that's what my daughter told me.
Hey, I can put appointments on my phone, you can't.
Oh,
Exactly.
Call a person
Because like
that's
I go to
happy
the
on
dentist now,
Monday,
they're like,
tired.
don't give me that card, because that's 6 months out, I'll do
Why don't
it.
you just go?
Boom, it's in my phone.
Well, I'm gonna have to get in the habit of.
Make
doing
sure
that.
though you put what your alarm's going off for, because I've done that before, it's like,
What's this?
But don't
why
drive over
is
your
my
phone
phone going
because
off? I don't know.
It won't
why.
work.
your appointments don't get transferred to your new phone.
Oh, really?
Uh-oh.
What are you doing driving over your phone?
Well,
Well,
I can get Wi-Fi, get Pandora radio Wi-Fi in my shop if I got a piece of tape across the room, I slipped the phone in behind. Well, I opened the door, drove skid steer out one day. Well, it fell out behind that piece of tape. I'm like, oh no.
It was Spanish.
Yeah.
Did he answer you?
So I immediately took the phone and plugged it into the charger so it stayed on. They got most of them, they don't have the rest of your calendar and stuff.
Oh.
Michael, yeah?
Yeah.
I can't let him.
I think you know over that.
You do? I don't need it, I got everything in handy. It's just more pages. It's all these blank pieces. Spray paper.
okay.
save the trees.
He always does that.
I do. Why?
I gotta do that. Let me know.
You need a notebook.
You want an extra one?
Yeah, it would be buried on my desk.
You have to write down when you give Susie stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, or you give it to him.
You're watch that movie scene, so. You just reminded me of it for some reason. The guy grabs it. Jack Black grabs the nacho out of the nachos. They're all stuck together, so he just grabs it.
What we like on pins.
It's one nacho.
It's one. I'll take one. Repair. If we're stuck together, it's one.
Yeah.
What are you repairing?
On the wall and basically on the library. Put the plaster's coming off.
Yeah, those should be our examples and
Yeah.
everything.
Perfect example.
Not to do exactly what to do.
Well, at some point, we're gonna have to start kicking them back in order to enforce it. I mean, that's at some point, otherwise.
You guys are gonna.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't talking to you.
I know, but look at that in the
You don't wanna look at it.
They're back.
People should be smart enough to.
But it's just like on the interest deal, until you start drawing those lines, everything's negotiable, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's been around.
Yeah.
Did Gilbert sign it though? Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, he was sitting there.
Oh, no, that's Garrett. I don't know. I think he did well.
Gilbert, you mean?
We don't have anything for.
Yeah, right there, up at the top corner.
You could go over.
They didn't even know.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Well, we'll wait for Michael. You guys want to look at this employee val?
Yeah, I didn't print them off, Mr. Chairman, because it just, I mean, my print was starting to look at me cross eyes.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll call it back in order.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what happened was I got thinking about Brandon, and we made a commitment, and I understand there's concerns over us not having an HR department in this building, and so it should be on us to be more proactive. And I was thinking, Brandon's been here over a year, and we haven't done an employee eval on him. And then I get to thinking about Jimmy, and I called Kara, and I said, have you done any of it, And so I think everybody just kind of slips through the cracks. And so I asked Kara to reach out to Employers Council to, if maybe we could get one that we could all agree upon using for across to all the elected offices, and so that it's a similar format. I mean, Jimmy's might be a little bit different, of course. There may be some small caveats, but I think we need to get the ball rolling, because in light of another phone call I received in the last week, it's been 20 years and no employee evals, and it's unfortunate because now they're having problems in a department, and I guess that's why I brought it up. Well, you. So I don't know if I know Becky emailed them all to everybody, but I don't know if the board wants to try to pick one, or if you guys have any ideas.
Well,
to start to try to use. Go ahead.
I looked at all of them. One of them's really specific, and the problem is every office has different job descriptions, and what those job descriptions go along with the tasks that they're responsible for. So I think it would be okay for us to have a general form that everybody uses, because then you're doing, a numbered system or a lettered system or whatever. Everybody kind of has the same thing, but it's going to have to be a fairly general form that we use, because everybody's office has different responsibilities. And it's even in this office, or even in this building, everybody's office is really different. It's what everyone does for their job. So there's a couple of these that are way too pinned down but some of them are pretty good. And I think if it would behoove everybody to use the same form, if everybody can agree on it, just for liability reasons, then somebody can't say, well, you know, Bob over in Susie's office, they use a completely different form, and this is what I got here, and that's not fair. Because that can happen. Or you have people transferring from one place to another, and it just, everything keeps consistent. I know that doesn't happen very often, but just those things, if it's all consistent, I'm thinking they should probably have a chance to look at them and see what they feel like would work for them as the elected officials or supervisors.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could go ahead and use that form for Brandon and Jim or whatever. We could use the same form.
So do you want me to email these same ones to each department head and then just have them pick their top 3? And then you guys can pick the final one?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
And then secondarily, along with that comes the issue of remembering to do them. And I think that's where the board, I don't know if it is, we need to as a board every year or say, you know, by February 30th or 28th or whatever, you know, you've got a time frame, you've got to get them done, and they've got to be turned in. Or one of the recommendations they said was don't necessarily do them, this is the day every year you have to have them done, and this is the day you do them. But maybe a timeline to structure it to ensure that countywide it's done and filed. And because Vera's right, there's a point where even a basic one that can just hit the high points of are you feel okay with your work environment, and are you unhappy, or are you happy, and this is how I feel you're performing, and yada yada yada. At least then there's some documentation and we have it filed. But, yeah.
Yes, both ways. You know, if you start having trouble with an employee and you have 3 or 4 evaluations in a row, that helps you make those decisions in your office to do what you need to do. Maybe we should think about making sure they're done before, maybe a couple months before budget time, because if we ever have enough money to give raises, that'd be wonderful. That kind of coincide with that time frame, so then they can come to us and say, we'd like to give this person a raise, this person we're not so sure of, and have it all kind of go together. So maybe in the spring, do it.
Yeah.
We just did one at the refinery. It was 10 questions, and there was 5 numbers. You know, strongly agree, strongly disagree, and it was. They weren't really precise. I mean, in depth, but it's just that kind of an overall one, which actually was pretty easy to do. Didn't take long to do it, but it was. The point would come across, you know, if something arose, okay, we maybe need to dig in deeper on this one, you know. Kind of a deal.
And I think it's kind of nice to have something that goes along with your form.
Yeah.
That your employee fills out before you meet, so they can kind of self-evaluate, and they can sit down together and say, no, actually, I think you do this better than you think you do, or actually, I think you need work in this. Maybe we need to talk about that.
And in our employee handbooks, it says to do them once a year. I almost think it needs to be twice.
Well, I think that would be probably a decision you make in your own office. Maybe have an official one and have a semi-annual one that you just discuss things with your people.
I think that's a decision of your department head, and especially if you have decided there's an issue you have to address. And I'll give you 6 months let's address this and how have we come through this. My other comment is, I think you have to include Mellow, and you're gonna have to put it in carefully.
Yeah.
Those included, several years ago, an issue came up with Mellow, and it became a real issue because evaluations had not been done. And because of that, unemployment was paid. Even though theoretically, it probably should have not. And the arguments were good as to why that should not occur. But because the documentation was not there and filed, it's very hard for you to go back and say, oh, now you have a problem. So, I mean, they need to be honest. They need to be direct. I don't think they have to be in quite the detail. But when you come to a problem, you need to have that documentation. And LDLP prior, I don't quite know LDLP anymore like I used to with, Bill Miller, but that was the number one thing he had, is get those done, get them filed, and including this Board of County Commissioners. So I think to lead the charge, Mr. Chairman, is that we should set those dates and have those evaluations, and we'll lead the charge.
Yeah, I think that's right. We need to be proactive about it, because obviously you get pressure to take.
Mr. Chairman, also on that line, it would be very interesting sometimes to have an exit interview too. The way that we grow and we move forward is we understand what's going on. And I think sometimes just meeting here twice a month, we don't always have our finger on the pulse of what exactly is an underlying thing. And so I think it would behoove us, I'm not sure it's in the employee handbook, I didn't look that close, but to have some type of exit interview, even if it's through us or through the department head, that we understood what's going on. What's going on.
And filed. Yeah.
And filed.
Yeah, Susie.
Huh?
What do you think?
I think it's a good idea.
So if I were to, similar to these Zoom meetings, if we were to send out a calendar reminder, and it just goes out to every Jimmy, somebody at the Malo board, where the chair is there, I'm not sure who it is right now, all the department heads, in the next 2 weeks, you need to have or this is the time, let me say it's your suggestion of the last 2 weeks of April or first week of May or whatever, you have to have your evals done. So that then we've done our part to notify, I guess.
And Mr. Sherman, I believe that we should always put it back on the old business until we get that those fulfilled. I mean, we're the ones that should be on top of it, but we need them now.
Okay. So yeah, start with setting them out and let's see if we can, don't mind.
And, I'm sorry, and put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
I'll just have them back to me by the next meeting.
Yes, that would be good.
Mr. Chairman, I think you have a no-show on your county attorney.
I'm sorry, what's that?
No-show on your county attorney, and I think we need to move on.
Yeah. So, with that being said, it's a pleasure to the board with the, Gasamat, giving him a interest forgiveness of $3,870.84.
Since we can't make a negative motion.
You want something in the form of motion?
Well, are we going to, what I'm asking is, are we gonna ask the county attorney to send him a letter without our county attorney, or what are we gonna do?
Can we advise our county attorney that he send a letter?
Yeah, I think we just make a motion to have that done.
Can we advise our county attorney that he send a letter?
Yeah, I think we just make a motion to have that done.
Did you just make that motion?
I did.
I'll second that motion.
So it's been moved and properly seconded to have Mr. Stolken pen a letter to Mr. Gallagher of Gas and Oil Corporation that we are not willing at this time to forgive the interest that is due, that we feel due to Weston County, amount of $3,870.74.
Per state statute.
Per state statute. Good idea.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's on mine, that's yours.
Ricky on there, is she gonna come downstairs, you think?
I think she's gonna come downstairs and roll call her.
Ricky, she's on there, she might go hear me. Or up to you if you can hear me, Ricky.
Come on down. It's your
Come
turn.
on down.
Come on down.
It's your turn.
Okay.
If she comes down with one of those tags like the Price is Right. Awesome.
That's good.
Yes, we're gonna all be there.
That's girls.
Thank you for calling in.
Exact amount of that interest.
It's 3,000.
870.
Yeah, right here.
Becky took the paper.
Here, you can have my paper.
Thanks, Mark.
They don't charge me for.
That's your last chance to get that.
I know.
I'm sealing it. I'm sealing it right now.
Okay, seal it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right.
I don't know why we would need a decision from the attorney on that last deal. What are they gonna do? Say, oh, well, we're not gonna pay it? They're not gonna.
If there's one thing, Mr. Chairman, that I will never do, is step into the money of the county.
I was gonna say, Indy is in a hearing right now. I do know that, with Judge Castano.
All right, we were given notice on Friday from the Weston County Republican Party, that, Ricky Kaiser was chosen as by the precinct committee people for the appointment to the, Clerk of District Court for Weston County with Tina Cody's, resignation. We have 5 days to do this, so we're falling within those 5 days today. Today's our last day, so, never done this before, but congratulations, I guess. Do we just vote on this?
We have to appoint her.
Because she's the only nomination?
We still have to move that one.
All right, well, congratulations, Ricky. I would,
I move to approve Ricky Kaiser as clerk of court.
Clerk of District Court.
Clerk of District Court.
Correct.
yeah, that motion,
Second.
properly seconded. Any discussion?
Congratulations.
Any other?
I think she did a very good job where she's been the deputy there for the time and she's been doing the work for a month now.
We're still swimming.
Yep.
You'll be swimming forever.
You came highly recommended too, Ricky.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
All those in favor of Ms. Kaiser being our new clerk of district court, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Clerk Haddock's gonna swear you in.
Can you turn a little this way? Can you guys turn so you're kind of, yeah.
Keep my good side, okay?
Dancing back and forth. Here we are.
Okay, just say this? Yep. I, Ricky Kaiser, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming, that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my election or appointment or caused it to be done by others, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Easy peasy. No more stressing.
Oh, no. You can't go without the saying that now that you've been sworn in, you're now being sworn in.
Yeah.
2 years, stress will come around.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I like that, Marty. Never heard that. Now that you've been sworn in, you're gonna be sworn in. Okay, did we have any, where did we move?
So under old business, we put letter to Mallow.
Oh, yes. Becky reached out, but
At that one meeting, we discussed, Michael was going to reach out to that attorney first before anything was done with her. Then he was gonna reach out to the fair board and the Mallow board.
but they did email us was it employers? No, it was LGLP, right? That sent that email.
As far as the volunteers,
Yes.
yes, and it was decided that is Mallow's decision. But because you said that money that was set aside is not for that employment, but it is up to Mallow to figure that out, and Nate was gonna reach out to them and tell them that.
Okay, that's what the purpose of that money was.
So I forwarded basically the email on to Riley, and he was gonna, Hampton, and he was gonna get it off to the rest of the Mallow board members, but, it basically is a rather lengthy description of how you can do what they're kind of wanting to do, and that you need to do volunteer job descriptions, training for volunteers on various roles and responsibilities. They're gonna have to check with workers' comp, see if it's coded for volunteers, volunteer policy and volunteer release and waiver form, and then an acknowledgement of the job description and handbook. But it was I thought it was a pretty good email, and she sent along with that a number of attachments of samples for them to, and if you would like, I could forward this on to you folks.
Well, you know, if I had an email, that would.
You still don't?
No.
It's not worth it.
No.
I'll send it anyways. I'll send it.
I can't.
Want it? Send it to your address.
That's yours?
My email works fine.
So, Mr. Sherman,
Sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
so you've sent it to the Mallow, and I assume to the fair board too?
I did not send it on to the fair board because I didn't know that they were in question of a volunteer right at the moment.
Fair enough. Yeah, only because of information basis only, because sometimes we
Yeah,
hear
that's-
of people
yeah.
that drag the track, we hear of people that, so I think for information purposes, it'd be wonderful. Is there a follow through that we have so that we know that they've put a description, that they've told their bookkeeper or whatever for IRS purposes, for workers' comp? Are we following through to know that they understand and have put forth some type of policy?
I don't know the answer to that.
Thought Michael was gonna report back to us on what the process was gonna be as far as if they were gonna become part of ours or not. I don't know how far that went.
Okay, so I would like to have this put back on old business again.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I don't see anything in these attachments that says anything about, other than maybe an acknowledgement sample that volunteers received that, and that there is appear to be an acknowledgement sample. But I'll go forward this on to everybody.
Is that our responsibility, or should we just take responsibility to make sure that they do it? We can't, it's not us for them to do it, but at least we can keep hounding them, have you got these done?
That's my question.
If they haven't, is there opportunity for liability, you think, back to the county?
Absolutely. I would say
If
there
it's a
was.
board, they failed.
The board is underneath us.
Yeah, no.
And if we can show that we was like, hey, you need to get this done, that might relieve us of some of the liability.
I think we just should stay on top of that. Something should happen. And something's happened.
Yeah. One more thing to try not to forget to do every time we turn around. But yeah, not knowing where Michael's at on his end of that stuff, I don't know if he's done any reaching out yet or not.
Then perhaps we need to be, Mr. Chairman,
Would you like me to
jumping.
email me? Would you like me to email him and attach everybody to see place for discussion, but just notice this, Michael, we're waiting on this.
Yeah, we're
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on that?
Thank you for the discussion.
You bet. Thanks for bringing it up. Good thought on following through on our end. All right. It's time sensitive to do it right now. I've invited some of the Mallow folks to maybe show up. I told them close to noon, so is it this board, okay with this board to proceed with some of the other new business, and we may jump that one temporarily, and if nobody showed up, and give them an opportunity to maybe get here by noon or do what we want.
Mr. Chairman, what did you invite the Mallow board up here for?
Because of what's happened there with the kitchen and how we proceed forward at this juncture. I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but there was a major water leak upstairs, and it ran for couple days, I would guess, just looking at some of the pictures. And it appears to me that the entire kitchen side of the Mallow camp is going to have to be gutted and completely redone, all the way maybe to the basement, including potentially the electrical, if it's gotten moisture inside of any of the electrical wires. There's a considerable amount of fire suppression in there that's going to have to be dealt with. And I wanted them here because we need to get the ball rolling as soon as possible. Otherwise, they may have a camp that's unusable for this summer. So, kind of in a pickle up
Insurance
there.
adjuster has already been notified. The insurance, adjuster should already have been up there, if not, should be up there today. Maybe $25,000 deductible.
25.
I think Riley told me 2 days ago, I believe ServPro is on the way or is already there out of Denver to try to mitigate some of the damage. And I believe that was done through the adjuster, telling them this is the first step you need to take, but I don't know that. I just need them here to tell us what's going on so that we can, because my assumption is this isn't going to cost us $25,000. By the time they start redoing this, I mean, a number was thrown at me that this could be $200,000. Of course, that's with insurance covering a lot of it, but we may have to redo bathrooms for ADA compliance. Now that we're going into it for basically a remodel now. There may be other things that we're gonna be on the hook for on top of the 25. Go ahead, Mike.
You know, when we had the accident upstairs, the plumbing issue that came down through the assessor's office and then downstairs, we went to the state SLID for emergency funding. It would be very nice to know if we had pictures, if we had any kind of estimates that we could go to SLID and ask for emergency funding. That's what that's for.
Okay. Can we talk about this when, can we talk about teams and do the chairman's signature? And hopefully somebody from Mount shows up and we can, because that's a great point. I mean, if we have to go down that road, I think we get everybody on board.
Okay by me.
Yeah. So teams, I asked Becky to add this on here. I don't have any problem coming in the morning and getting it, try to get it going. My issue stems from though, if we're gonna do this, are we gonna have to do it? Or are we gonna spend the money to get it fixed permanently? And like, I'm personally not interested in interrupting a meeting to constantly tend to this. Meetings as it's established, I understand that's not always possible, but I want guidance from this board. I mean, I don't know, do we need a Starlink satellite out here that's gonna cost us $50 to $100 a month just for our team so that we have enough service to run this? Or do we punch holes through the building, which is gonna cost a tremendous amount of money? So I'd like the board to have a discussion on this. As of now, I'm okay with getting it up and running in the morning, like I said, but I don't want it to be our main focus during our meeting if there's issues with it. But if that's what the board wants, go ahead. Garrett.
Does it seem like the main issue is the internet service?
I gather it's the amount of bandwidth, right?
That won't happen anymore because he hardwired it in.
Oh, we
It's
did.
not wireless, it's hooked in now. He
Who
was
did
here
that?
the other day,
Charles.
Charles.
Okay. That's,
We
that's,
fixed the
that's the big
internet.
blue one.
Yep,
I think in the past, so that was the issue, right?
because it was hooked into wireless. When he was here the other day, that's what that blue wire is now. He hooked that in.
I don't know. Because you didn't have to drill 100 holes. I didn't know. Go ahead, Marty, you have your hand up.
My only question is, you know, it evolved from Zoom to Teams. I don't know what the issue of the difference is, but, and I realize IT costs of what other places do, but it's when, I'm not sure what the difference is and why. I'm all for a closed circuit type, so that the people that are in this building know what's going on in here. I mean, because they're directly infected. And so to me, that's, I don't mind a closed circuit. If you can get on otherwise, that's a different issue.
Becky was informed by Charles that he's not interested in every meeting.
That's not part of his contract.
Yeah, so.
I fully understand that.
Which, maybe now it's fixed, I don't know.
Let's try.
But I want guidance from the board, I guess, on the situation. If you're okay with me getting it up and running and in the mornings or whatever, where you want me to raise your hand?
Yeah.
So.
It's a little frustrating because that's the answer we got the time I had someone come look at it, that it needed to be hardwired and it would fix the majority of the problems. But I think we're still gonna have problems with the speakers because this is kind of a haphazard setup here. I think we're still gonna have problems with the speakers because this is kind of a haphazard setup here. I would say if they've hardwired it now, maybe we should see what happens, and then we may have to go back and do something different with the speakers, but I agree that it shouldn't be your job to click on it half a dozen times during the meeting, and frustrating for the people who are trying to listen on the other side. You know, it must be better not to have it than have problems with it, but
I agree.
I can see now, today, all these people have been on there and it stayed on. We had a problem with the sound, and like I said, that there's always been a problem with the sound system, the way it's set up, and we may have to deal with that at some point, but.
It's interesting. Brittany texted me when we were dealing with this sound issue. She goes, make sure only one mic is on. And when you click that one on, and I click, maybe this is the treble mic, I don't know. So I guess if we can ensure that nobody will, maybe I'll hide this mic back here. And but I guess that's the only thing I was looking for was, maybe this will solve the problem. I thought maybe we had to get some external internet.
I mean, because it affects them directly, you know, but I found it very, I'm gonna say insulting, very disruptive when it goes down in the meeting, we got somebody trying to do a presentation and we're messing with that. It takes a lot away from our meeting, you know. You know, if we can get it up and it runs fine, that's fine, but if it goes down in the meeting, it's like, well,
it's done.
It's done. We ain't gonna stop, we ain't gonna interrupt our meeting to mess with it. You know,
Yeah.
and it's
Just a convenience right now.
and this all come out of the whole COVID, because of COVID, so it
Right,
started.
But it's also important to have it for like Drew.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have to have an outside line for those kind of things that come up.
And before, like Drew, them, they would just call in and give us an update on the phone. I mean, that worked for years.
And I don't have a mind, I don't have a mind.
And actually,
That's true, but.
There's a new meme.
she can call in and she can be driving down the road if she's got good service and talk to us, where when she comes in on the Zoom, she has to be parked, you know, to get on.
I've never, and really, a phone conversation isn't that bad in here. When we have the conference calls, we do pretty good, and when the chair directs, you know, the conversation and we don't walk over each other, it's not a bad situation. So I'm all for it.
You know, that's the main thing when there's a conference call, one person at a time, you know.
Well, and this is my heartburn, you know, we're looking at some serious expenses coming up here, it looks like. And at one portion, I'm not voting to spend more money for advertising, but at the same token, I don't want to spend money on, because of these issues, on external internet or whatever. So if this solves the problem, I'm more than happy to get it up and running in the morning. And if it's noon and we come back from lunch, I'll fire it up and try it again, you know. But to stop a discussion, I don't really care to do that, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we'll leave that at your discretion.
Fair enough. If everybody's kind of okay with.
Like you got directions from us.
Okay. Chairman's signature on the SHPO CLG annual report form, which is the, what is that again?
So every year, it's from Lucille and her board.
Historical preservation.
Historical preservation.
Organization, right?
Yeah.
State historical preservation, yeah.
So they have to do their annual report every year, and it contains their minutes and everything that they've done. So there's 2 copies, that you, and I scanned this to you guys, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So this just needs your signature on both of those copies. If the board so approves.
It's interesting how thorough that historical board is on knowing who is representing them in the state compared to other boards, you know, and I find that it's quite thorough how much they require of a board member.
It's a board to aspire to.
Yeah.
The seal is still very sharp.
The whole
on
SHPO,
what needs to do.
the state
Yeah.
SHPO is. I mean, SHPO has their fingers in quite a few things, as so they should. We're not that old of a state, but we want to protect those things that we have.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to authorize the chairman's signature on the SHPO/CLG annual report form for 2023-2024.
Second.
Motion made and properly seconded for my signature, the chairman's signature on the SHPO COG annual report. Any discussion, further discussion on it?
Mr. Chairman, I always want to thank that board because I don't know if a lot of people understand what they do, and it's important what they do. And to take the time to consider to protect our historical buildings, our monuments, those type of things. Wyoming doesn't recognize the Antiquities Act, and so it's very, very important that we have a historical board that more or less does that on a volunteer basis. So I thank them.
Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right here. Right there. Send that one. All right. Jump to the resignation of the Weston County Solid Waste District. Got a resignation letter from Mr. George Mondora Jr. He would like to tender his resignation from the Weston County Solid Waste District as a board member as of January 15th, 25. So I guess, pass that down so that I can see it.
I move that we accept the resignation of George Bondora from the solid waste district. What's right there?
Motion has been made to accept Mr. Bondora's resignation. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Discussion.
I'll recuse myself from any decisions on that since I'm a board member there and I'll abstain from voting. I would add that George served on that board for 8 years.
Yes, sir.
I would like to thank him, and Mr. Chairman, I think it's appropriate for us to write a letter of thank you for his service on that board.
Would you like me to write that letter?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you want to see it? Okay.
Trust in your spelling.
My mom was an English teacher.
That's why.
Okay, any other discussion? those in favor of accepting Mr. Mondor's resignation letter, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Oh, this is the one, isn't it? Okay, next up, we have a board appointment letter for the Weston County Solid Waste District from, Amber Ryan.
It's nice when a board member finds a replacement before they get on.
This is Amber Ryan that was
She's good.
She works for the city.
Yeah.
She's
And
good.
this is to fill out 1 year that's left on George's term. So this should be a 1 year appointment.
Amber lives in Upton and works for the city for a number of years now.
In capacity as?
She is second in command of.
Mark Lindstrom's deputy.
Thank you.
Well, she appears to be a hand from what I've seen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dad joke.
So cheesy.
You laughed.
That was. Sorry, that's a triple.
Thank you.
Pleasure of the board. Is this one of those deals where we've discussed in the past interviews? I guess it's up to the board if we would like to do on that. I think that would be fine.
She was at our last board meeting. The other board members were there, all approved her. I think she'd be a valuable asset to our board. So.
Ryan, I need a letter again. I didn't catch her last name.
Ryan.
Ryan? So Amber Ryan?
Yep.
Why didn't I not catch that? Because that's the way Mr. Chairman, I move that we place Amber Ryan on the Weston County Solid Waste Board for a 1-year term.
Properly moved to accept Amber Ryan for a 1-year term to the Weston County Solid Waste Board. Is there a second?
Second.
The move and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Mr. Ward?
On, as far as policies and procedures, are we wanting to kind of pick and choose depending on interview? If we're gonna place something in an interview situation, are we going to have a standard on it, or are we gonna kind of decide upon circumstances?
Yeah, I know. This is one of those deals where.
I just want to know where we're at.
Yeah. Part of the issue I see with it is getting people to serve on boards isn't always easy. And I feel comfortable in the fact that at least she attended a board meeting of the board and the board members found that she would be an appropriate candidate. That makes me feel good, I guess, in ways, but that doesn't really mean that we had an opportunity to, like you said, like we've discussed in the past.
Right. Again, like non-topical, more structural, same with the last topic. I just want to, because we are honestly, it sounds like she's perfectly qualified, probably overqualified to be on the board in a lot of ways. But there is going to be those opportunities that maybe we didn't make the right call on it, and then we're trying to like backstab and be like, man, you know, we talked about that, and we just kind of, it worked for so long, and we didn't do it. It never bit us, so we just kind of kept rolling with it. Just something to bring forward. I know that we have talked about it.
There's gonna be times when there's more than one candidate, and at that point, I think for sure there should be some kind of interview process. I agree with Mr. Chairman that, or maybe it was Mr. Wagner, that it's hard to get people to do these volunteer boards in the first place, but maybe it would be nice to have them even if we approve them, maybe it'd be nice for them to come in and do a little meet and greet with us, ask them questions, not necessarily in an interview. Your board has clearly approved her on some level. And that's what, to me, is probably more important than us approving them. But maybe it'd be nice to have her come in and just put a face with the name, have her see us, and I don't know, just welcome her to our board at that point. Maybe that's more important. I think it's important to keep that communication between us, and I don't know what you think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, two things, and I'll play off of that one first. I always think it's important for us to invite boards to come in here and see what's going on in their world, especially ones that we appoint. So I think it's always appropriate for us to, at some meeting, perhaps the second meeting of the month, to invite this board, tell us what's going on. I mean, we used to have minutes come through, and we would stop and read the minutes, and that's been a while. Number two, you also have boards that are going to be boards that are contentious, that just are. And I think those boards, when we have a goal of what it is that we're after, that we're trying to achieve, I think it's very important to interview those people to see if their goals align. And I don't have a problem whatsoever with that. But you also have boards that you just know, or they just walk the walk. They talk the talk. And I'm not sure that I understand Commissioner Borton's because we've gone through this before. We even had a prior commissioner here that we had that discussion too of what do we do with each board, but it's a struggle. So I think if we know which boards that we need to have a conversation about.
And just FYI, we did advertise for 3 weeks for that position.
Thank you for that.
And some of these folks' defense, it may not be easy for them to come in here. And maybe that's an opportunity where we reach out to just maybe like 5 minutes on Zoom just to get to meet you. And if it conflicts with your work schedule, which it would, I think, for most people probably. Maybe we just ask Amber if it'd be okay with the mayor to take 5 minutes of her time to introduce herself, in a future meeting. Yeah, I mean.
I would go to the clerk treasurer, not the mayor.
I would go to the city superintendent.
But, yeah, I think, I don't want to micromanage anybody, but you're right, it's nice to hear reports from various boards and how things are going.
Clark County.
Yeah. So there isn't, yes, there's a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adding Ms. Ryan to the Weston County Solid Waste District Board for a term of 1 year, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. You see her, congratulate her for it. And maybe,
She's good.
yeah. So anybody from Camp should have a chance. Or involved in Camp. Okay.
Lots of cars out there.
So, I guess, trying to start where we stopped, apologize about Marty, but, I don't know if I said this earlier, but, Jimmy, who's kind of, I think, discovered the issue, went around and took some videos, and, it's bad, like, real bad, and, some of the discussion went along with, we just redid that floor upstairs, right? And it was what was it, $25,000 or something like that?
I don't know, but it's the upstairs floor, the bedroom on the middle, bathrooms, bathroom upstairs.
So the whole south side.
Yes.
Pretty much.
The kitchen is destroyed.
This is on the hotel,
No,
No.
no,
The-
a lot.
I
Oh,
mean, the pictures are just, it's devastating.
So what leaked?
It was a shark bite fitting, is what I was told, underneath a cabinet sink upstairs.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
So what leaked?
It was a shark bite fitting, is what I was told, underneath a cabinet sink upstairs. Broke or came loose, one of the two.
Or
Froze.
We're
Froze
not
potentially.
sure. They had
Have to keep the
a
water
heater
on.
up there, but
Right.
it leaked for several days before it was gone.
So in discussing it, Nick was one of they reached out to White's Construction, just because, what are we looking at here? And these were some of the concerns Nick had. He said, the fire suppression. I don't know if it's done any damage to it. He said probably not, but at some juncture, that's gonna have to be dealt with in the remodel or any sort of drywall work / whatever electrical work may or may not have to be done. There's some very expensive equipment in the kitchen that, the water's just raining down into like those big ranges and stuff. I'm hoping it
See it on the ceiling in the
didn't
kitchen.
damage any of that stuff, but this is a deal that, I don't know. Nick was hesitant partially on doing any kind of bid work until an adjuster got there. And also, I think Jimmy was wanting to potentially start tearing some of the stuff out, but we need the adjuster there and look at it first. So I put everything on hold. I said, get the adjuster there. And maybe let's start mitigating the damage from what's currently happening and without tearing things out. And ServPro that I think is potentially there now. I'm gonna go up there this afternoon and look. But I think they are the first step to start to mitigate the water damage issue. But trying to move forward with this, we're gonna have to probably put out for bid, right? And the issue that I see with this is either we get somebody that can do a good job and get it done prior to the end of May, or we lose an entire summer's worth of use of the building potentially. Because I'm guessing all the equipment's gonna have to go into the bigger area of the building in order to do the work in there. Or we may have to figure out how to put stipulations on the bid work, like when it's gotta be done by X date, or can it even be done by then?
Schedule.
Yeah.
That's why you should put your schedule out now.
So that's why I added it to the agenda. And if you guys would like to see pictures, I've got videos I could share with you. It's not good.
That's all.
Yeah, 'cause I don't even know if the power's gonna be able to be turned on anywhere up there. Because there's standing water still.
I am.
Why did this go on so long? Why was it checked? I mean, why did no one check this building? That's my question. I mean, I think it's a legitimate question. If this happened, we certainly want it to not ever happen again. But I don't understand why the building wasn't checked on a daily basis.
Mr. Chairman, with all with all due respect, we had 24 hours here. Somebody went through the room, and within 12 hours, we had 2 rooms absolutely
That's
destroyed.
true. That's true.
Absolutely destroyed. And it took someone to come in the morning that does the standard maintenance to say, OMG. And I think the way the world is, things happen. And I don't know, we can put blame, but it will not fix that building. It will not take the water out of that building. And so the only way we have now is forward. And things can be put into place, perhaps, that will try to mitigate it for another time, but it won't do us any good. So I think we just move forward and go full steam ahead, hopefully. We can get this thing done. And I think time is about the essence.
Do we as a board want to authorize the chairman, I mean, no dollars will be spent here, but authorize the chairman to work with these people to get stuff done in a timely fashion to keep it moving?
Mr. Chairman, I would agree with that fully. I would agree fully that you get some type of estimate so that we can move forward if we are allowed to go to SLID. We need to be denied. That happens all the time. They don't consider that an emergency. Because it's not necessarily a working type thing, but it is a historical building. And that's the thing that you're gonna have to find out too, because it is a historical building. You may not have to go through the ADA, that type of thing. I mean, a lot of that's still part of that. We have a gentleman here that probably knows some of that, but I think I would be more than willing to have you jump right in and get your feet wet, literally.
Jimmy's on the phone. He's not on
Well, I've never dealt with a matter of this magnitude, and I'm glad you just walked in. Once an adjuster comes in, do they give you an idea what they think this is gonna cost to mitigate the problem? And then you start to proceed with trying to get bids, or do they tell you this is what we're willing to try to help fix in this problem, and then, do you know how that works on it?
Well, yeah, typically, an adjuster obviously has an employer, and that's the insurance company.
Yeah.
And so their interest is trying to limit that cost. But they'll come in and do an adjustment on that, and then typically a contractor, an entity is, give some bids and say, we can't get ready to do it for this, and then there's negotiation. And so it, depending on how that clause is written, like a replacement clause,
So following
they may make you get 3 bids too, which is going to be a tough thing. And
that's my concern, and following the statutes, if we put this out for bid, we should be able to decline on a time frame, right? Even though they're a lower bid. Like if this needs to be done within a certain time frame, can you decline on?
We have to follow what the insurance company tells us to do, because we have filed a claim, and so we have to do what the insurance people tell us to do. Right now, Jimmy's the point of contact, and then I'm the point of contact. Okay, here's Jimmy. Hello?
Hi, I think this is Jimmy. How are
Hey,
you?
you're on speaker in the meeting, so.
Okay, I'm here with Service Pro with Tony Pierce. He can pretty much give you a full update, and he has pretty much daily updates that we can email also. With a few emails that who wants them, we can do that. But here's Tony. Hello, this is Tony.
Hey, Tony, Nathan Todd, we're in a commissioner meeting right now, and we're just trying to get a feel of what we're looking at and how we move forward. And if you got any information, it'd be great, because I'm gonna try to come up there after the meeting's over and meet with whoever's there. But if you got any update or what we're looking at, it'd be great.
Absolutely, and as Jimmy said, we have a customer experience person. As long as we have any stakeholders that want to be on an email, we'll do daily emails as well as pictures as well. So if you want to give that to Jimmy at a later date, we could provide those. So right now, we've been on site. I mobilized some basic equipment to kind of control the environment. We are pulling the insulation that's wet out of the crawl space and basement. That is almost complete. The other day we ordered asbestos testing. That came back all clear except for the vinyl upstairs. And I'm not too concerned about that because what we're going to do is we're going to dry that floor upstairs from the main level. And then we're going to, obviously on the reconstruction side, that will be vinyl plank that will go over that material. So as long as that material is not friable, which it is not at this point, then it's 100% safe to put that vinyl plank back over that, and that way it'll be, be back to the way it was before this incident happened.
Okay. As far as where all the equipment is on the main floor, is that something that you guys help with moving stuff, or is that something we need to get?
Absolutely. No, Jimmy did a great job. They started that process, but yeah, our crew is going to move everything on the main floor. We'll move it out of the way because the main floor obviously will be removing the ceiling that has insulation in it, as well as the flooring and the code base to dry that. So yeah, no problem. We are 100% have the manpower to move any and all contents that are necessary.
Has anybody got any questions? What about the adjuster? Has the adjuster been there?
Yeah, so there's two adjusters. There's a Steven, who is this Chubb adjuster. I have been in contact with him, gave him a scope of work. Also got approval from him to hire an electrician, because the amount of electricity I'm gonna need, he does not have enough receptacles. So I had an electrician give me a bid to run some temporary cables to power all my equipment to dry the structure. So Steven did approve that as well. And then today they sent out a independent adjuster, and he is doing the sketch now and kind of doing the measurements, taking some additional photos as well. And then he's gonna write what they think the reconstruction is gonna be. And then we will also write another proposal, what we think the reconstruction is gonna be, and then we'll negotiate those terms with them to make sure that we have a big enough budget on the reconstruction to put this back together the way it was before the incident happened.
Have you ever dealt with historical buildings like this one? Do you know?
Yes.
Will this affect any ADA issues? Like if we have to come in there and remodel or redo things, will we have to potentially look at any ADA issues on a historical?
I don't believe so, because it's kind of over just, the kitchen, the upstairs area, the open area with those rooms, and then the main level, is just the kitchen and restrooms, and in the basement. So none of the building was affected, where kind of, I don't know if you're super familiar with the building, but basically where that block wall is in this big giant open area, none of this area was affected at all. So we're good in here.
Okay.
Almost an addition.
That's good. So we're not structurally changing anything. It's just
No, this is all cosmetic, and we're obviously, with your approval, gonna put it back. I would guess, obviously it might change the paint colors, but obviously drywall and insulation doesn't change. I would guess it will probably, since the flooring was pretty new upstairs, I would guess you guys probably want, something close to that same flooring. So we're gonna put back everything, pretty much the way it was, minus if you guys wanted to change, some paint color. So it's all really cosmetic. Nothing structural, is gonna happen. I'm gonna get a report from the electrician, who's gonna give me a full report, what he thinks, anything that needs to be repaired or replaced. And so we'll go that route, and get that, submit that to Chubb, and then, go through that process, whatever he thinks it compromised by the water intrusion and the plumbing.
What time frame are we typically looking at for the adjusters and you folks to potentially have an idea of what we're looking at?
I would say on the mitigation side, obviously that's pretty, that's a lot faster. I would say within a week, we'll, probably a week and a half, we'll have all the materials that are affected removed. We'll be in the drying phase, should be almost dry. I'm gonna have our reconstruction team start building a proposal for the reconstruction at the same time that we're doing the removal. And so that way that'll shorten that timeline, and then that way we can start that negotiation process with Chubb and make sure all the budgets align. And then we'll probably hand it off to a reconstruction project manager. I know that it sounds like, you have some bookings in May, so, we would obviously be cognizant of that and try to, put together the absolute tightest schedule that we could to get this turned around for you.
Sorry for the pause, just giving everybody time to think or digest this a bit.
I know it's a lot of information. We can have this, meetings, or I could come, if I need to come somewhere and have, meetings as often as you need. I'm actually one of our large loss directors. I travel the U.S. doing these larger losses, so it's a lot of information at one time. So I think that that where we are now is removing impacted materials. Where we are moving forward to is creating a budget for the reconstruction, and then we'll also create a timeline and then present that to you folks.
Sounds
Make
great.
it a little bit more simple to understand.
So as far as proceeding forward with finding contractors, we have no idea until we get this stuff back. So when do we wait 2 weeks to start advertising?
They are the contractors.
No, we'll reach out. We have a group of contractors that work directly with us.
Okay.
So we'll reach out to them folks, and if there's a local company that does some work, we're more than happy to get a proposal for them, and obviously making sure the budget works for the for both of us, and we can move forward. But obviously, like I said, I think that the biggest pain point in this project is timing.
All they want is to lose the public notice requirements so they can keep even more secrets than they're keeping now. I can't side with local governments in these fights anymore. I used to. For 20 years, I sided with them. I can't. I've got to back the legislature, and I've got to back the Freedom Caucus in sort of breaking the chain and bringing local governments to heel.
And I think that that'll bring the people to heel. While I think the people deserve some, I think that people have become too accommodated to everything. And when you peel back government and local government, you're going to make the people uncomfortable too, but I think it'll make everybody stronger.
And hey, if the people can't handle it, they can vote these guys out in 2 years, right? That's the thing about the Wyoming legislature is they can neither help too much too rapidly or hurt too much too rapidly. Wyoming does have good reserve accounts.
Move forward, but obviously, like I said, I think that the biggest pain point in this project is timing. And to get it completed, fast enough to make these obligations you've made to other people, and so sometimes we can get a little bit bigger crew to go a little bit faster than sometimes some of the local people can do to be able to make these timelines.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. Sounds like you guys dealt with this stuff a lot. So
Yeah, this is honestly, I've been in this business pretty much 90% of my whole career, and so this is what I specialize in. I just did a 36-story hotel in Vegas a year and a half ago. I did the Blue Bunny plant that had a fire, so we understand the sensitivity of timelines and also the sensitivity of historic structures and being transparent, and so that's why honestly that the Serpro called us, because there's a few Serpros that are a little bit more local than we are, but we are actually one of the few that are certified by Serpro to be a large loss extreme team, and there's just a lot more that goes into these larger projects than a typical, you flood a little bit of your bathroom.
You bet. Well, are you gonna be up there this afternoon?
100%, yeah, I'll be here every day, sir.
Okay. Maybe I can visit with you and we can figure out something for an email list and maybe like a weekly update or something if we can figure something out.
We'll do daily, you just give me the email /stakeholders list,
Okay.
and we'll do daily emails and pictures. I believe when we do that, it eliminates a lot of, if there's just a lot of transparency, and it eliminates a lot of problems that you guys know what we're doing today, you know what we plan on are doing tomorrow, and that way everybody's up to date.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you this afternoon, sir. I look forward to meeting.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
You guys need anything from me?
I don't think so. Jimmy, are you gonna be up there?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'll visit with you when I get up there.
Right, guys.
Whoever. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You
Thank
too. Bye.
This is gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm not on this level, but I do have experience with Serpro on water leaks, and they're just fantastic. They come in and start mitigating so quickly and get that dried up. It's amazing how fast they work, and then they can go ahead and do the work if you want them to. So sounds like maybe our insurance company is on the ball with them.
What's nice, like those guys coming in and doing that, there really isn't a lot of negotiation between the insurance companies. They say this is the way it's going to be, and it.
I feel good that they're doing this
Yeah.
mitigation, because they'll look at everything, the mold and the wet and everything.
Who would like to be on the email list with that? Would you like me to give everybody?
Yes.
I don't think it'd be a problem. And then,
Just
anybody
like my
else?
personal stuff, I feel like I need to fix.
Maybe not a board president.
Yes.
Okay. So, doesn't sound like there's gonna be really any major issue with me needing for guidance, so. I mean, if something comes up, I could always send a quick informative email, just, this is what's going on, and what I guess, kind of direction I told them to go down, if that's okay with the board.
I still though, you need to have the authorization. If some decision needs to be made immediately, I mean, inform the board of what's going on, but yeah, it's gonna be so time sensitive to get it done before May.
My assumption is that the board would just get it back to what it was, and no extra frills, no. Okay.
All right, you know that.
Oh, sorry.
It's like having an option.
I thought my bowl that they screwing around. I guess, if anybody else need anything further on the Mao, I could send some photos or videos if you'd like. Garrett, I don't know, unless you want to wander up there and look at it.
I mean, by the sounds of it, I got an idea of what we're dealing with.
Yeah. The tape was already coming off the ceilings above the kitchen. It was raining in there.
No need to add to misery.
Yeah, okay.
It's sad. I saw this.
Yeah. Do you know Mr. Bondor's mailing address? Or was it on that letter? Was it on that?
It's a P.O. box, I'm sure.
Do you
That's how quick I am.
May have it.
We can get it.
Oh, it is in Upton, so sure it is.
It's gotta be a P.O. box.
Well, no, I remember.
Okay. You keep it. All right, we're done with new business, right? Missing anything? Public comment? Is there any public comment? No public comment. Commissioner comment, Ms. Erdman, did you have something?
I do have something. Headed up on the legislative slate is HB 262. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been paying attention to that bill, but that bill is after counties and their cash reserve accounts. What they want is, what the bill more or less states is that there's a timeline in there, and if you haven't spent what you brought in, they want you to give it back. Well, there's an issue with that. And I'm not sure that legislators always understand the budget process. Right now, it's just counties, but trust me, they'll be coming after towns and cities. The understanding of how a budget is done, and that we are based on an accrual basis, and that everything that we do is a guesstimate. And so after 2 or 3 years, that's finally when you know what money that you have. And so for them to even contemplate that we are storing money away, I don't think they understand also the costs that can happen to us. And this is a fine example right here of that. If we have to come up with more than just our deductible, this is an expense that isn't always budgeted. And so also, I don't think they understand that tiny counties as we are, that a motor grader wipes out 2 of our departments in a budget. And so I tried to testify the other day. I got online to testify, but they were too involved with the voting machines testimony, and so they didn't get to there. But I do think if you have the chance, it's very important that we keep our cash reserves. I think a very conservative type county as we are, we always have been conservative in our budget process, that we have made the argument that we don't know if PILT comes in, we don't know what sales tax is going to come in, we have no idea. And so when we tuck that money away, we're not being crazy with it, we're tucking it away so that we have our own rainy day fund. And I think that bill just needs to be killed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Ms. Huber?
No, I don't have anything.
Or no comments? Wait.
Everybody's got a copy of the WCCA stands-on bill with respect to county. And actually, House Bill 262 is on page 10. The commissioner strongly opposed it. Also, onto that bill, our little county, they have a ranking of there. We were number 3 on the list to give money back. Of all the counties, we were third on the list. So
we're being penalized,
yeah,
because we're conservative.
Yep. And there was also some grumblings down there that there might even go after districts. So districts can't carry reserves. That's some of the behind the scenes grumbling, and maybe amendments coming. So that's one that needs to die a painful death. And being down there, this budget session on the county side, it's all damage control. I mean, it is strictly, there is nothing good coming out. It's just strictly all damage control. So if you get a phone call to call your senators and representatives, please do, because our voices need to be heard.
May I add another thing to that, Mr. Chairman? I'm not sure the implications of all this property tax reform, if they're fully and completely understood. And we're going to face some interesting times when our revenues are cut. And so when we already have a guesstimation of other things, considering, like I said before, we have to wait for continuing resolutions to get pill money. We have to wait, you never know about sales tax. For the new board members, when Taco John's left the first time, it would shock you what it did to our sales tax. That's how tiny of a county we are. That those tiny little ripples that occur are monsoons. They are tsunamis. When the paper mill left, when our sawmill left, it pulled the rug out from underneath us. So we're not one of these large that have a lot of industry. We don't have a lot of that. So this is it's going to be interesting what's happening. Very interesting. So just look ahead and understand.
For clarity, would you mention that bill again? What number it is for people?
HB 262.
Thank you.
And on that, there was a commissioner, the first week of session was in a committee meeting. And the people, the inexperience that's going on down there right now, they were sitting in a committee meeting, they were talking about a bill, and they was very nice about not saying which committee it was in respect for them. But the chairman of that committee said, okay, all in favor say aye. It was not even a motion or a second or anything. That's the inexperience of some of the people that we're dealing with down there.
May I add to that again? I listened to one, and I listened to the chairman say, what's the problem? Your property taxes aren't due till April 15th, so why don't you wait till the budget session next year? That's not how the property tax system works. And so to have a legislator state that on tape, and I'll go find you the tape if you'd like to hear it. I had to email it and say, that's not how our system works. And you're going to put the state of Wyoming in arrears. And it's going to look a little silly as we all stand on the courthouse steps and sell state property. Because they're out of tax. They're in tax. So, interesting time.
I did learn a very politically correct term for us. We're not a poor county. We're minerally challenged.
We're challenged, that's for sure.
That's all I have.
Thanks, guys. I don't really have anything to add to that other than I appreciate you guys getting involved with that stuff and staying on top of it. So.
I'm late for public comment.
Oh, Kara, yes.
Final legislation came up. I still have a spreadsheet that pertains to all the property tax bills that are floating around and coming daily and not dying ever. So I'm trying to keep track of them. I will send out an updated spreadsheet to all of you again this afternoon. I did want to forewarn you that there is another 50% exemption bill that hasn't died yet. And it won't be with restrictions to age. It'll be for everybody. It's supposed to be a short term. I did run some numbers on what that loss in revenue would look like to Weston County and the general fund specifically, and each town, because obviously the town of Upton and the city of Newcastle, their mills that they draw are primarily residential. And I did talk to Kelly a little bit this morning. She's in Cheyenne trying to represent Upton and what they're trying to accomplish going forward with lack of funding if they get that part. Anyway, I do just have a little handout, and if anybody wants to talk about it after the meeting, I'm free. That was it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing to add, if we need to get in front of the slip board, Marty, on this problem at Mal.
Yes, AP.
That's what I was just thinking, so.
Weird time. Interesting thing, Mr. Chairman, this is a weird time because of the legislature. But in my time before, there is a deadline but I believe June is probably the next available slip. I'm not sure when they do emergency funding, but it would not be during legislative. So we can go look that up. We'll go find that stuff out.
Okay.
We need to stay on top of it.
Yeah, we'll go look that up. We'll go find that out. If it takes a call to Beth or whatever, we'll do it.
I'll try to come with good news. Excellent.
Who you wanna look at this?
No.
This is a worst case scenario.
Doomsday scenario.
This is my, I actually called it my doomsday printout earlier.
Well-
Funny.
If everybody takes advantage of it, that's
Well,
doomsday.
And the thing is I wish those people would look into this. They think it's all hunky-dory, good for the people. It's not. It will kill us as a county.
If I may, these are broad numbers, because they are based on residential properties. I know that the bills, a lot of them are saying owner occupied. This is just based off of the residential properties we had valued in 2024. The majority of them are owner occupied, but that's just going to say rentals aren't going to count, second homes aren't going to count. This includes all residential property as of last year. We are gonna have to differentiate that going forward as this passes. And they're also hoping to drop the level of assessment to 8.3% down to 9.5%.
I appreciate that you didn't use blood red.
It's more of a pink,
I think
salmon.
it's happy yellow next time. I said next time I'll try it.
No, they're after brown.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Vouchers.
Thank you, commissioners.
You want to look at that?